Peace, peace, peace. What's going on? What's going on? It's your brother outside the Cuban. Yes, we are back. We are back. We are back. I think I took like a week off, but I'm back. I took like a week off, but I'm back. But yeah, man. Hope everybody is doing well. But I wanted to cover this particular debate that I came across um, with the brother Chad Jackson, and I say this loosely, the brother Austin, because they had a debate, just kind of talking about Martin Luther King and things of that nature, and they were just kind of going through a few things. And I do have to say, man, these coons, bruh, they are out, they're loud, and they're proud. You know, trying to get that pat on the head from Massa, from the good old white man, and it's kind of disgusting. Peace. What's going on? 369. Peace. Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. So I actually just kind of wanted to review this debate. I saw it a few days ago, but whatever, whatever. I'm reviewing it now. So I wanted to do like a separate video on this, like just totally deconstructing it. But I was like, hey, I'm up. Better late than never. Um, I got a microphone, an internet connection, and some motherfucking time to kill. So I say, why not just go live and just, talk about it? But I wanted, my audience to kind of see this for a lot of people that may have not saw it. So, as I always do, let me put the link in the chat if you want to see it without my commentary. If you want to see it without my commentary, and let's go. Let's get into it. And I also sped it up just a little bit so we can try to get through as much as we can. It's almost 2 hours long, so hopefully we can try to get through as much as we can. So let's go.
And infiltration in this country.
Oh, I apologize. Hold on, I didn't have the audio up. Let me just back it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. I didn't have the audio on. I apologize.
From the time I was 8 years old, I learned all of his material. I learned all of his speeches and sermons and committed them to memory, and learned about as much about the man as I possibly could. And so I'm just here today to kind of address some of the things that I've heard from your documentaries and from your research on King. I think that this will be one of the greatest conversations surrounding the core of the civil rights movement that the black community particularly needs to have. There have been a lot of things said about King over recent years that I think two intellectuals have the capability to discuss.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that. So you found him through his documentaries?
Yeah, it was Uncle Tom, if I'm not mistaken. And I also looked at the MLK project that Chad was working on, and it was very, very. I mean, the points that you raised were some that I'd heard from multiple different sources. But the first one, I think, among them that I wanted to talk about was the claim that King was attached to communism. I wanted to give you a chance to kind of expound on that.
Certainly. So, in order to do that, we first have to look at the history of communist agitation and infiltration in this country, dating as far back as the 19th.
Well, let me just say this first. Did King have an affiliation with communism? Per se, no, but he did espouse some of the tenets to socialism. But when it comes to communism, no. So maybe he shouldn't have let off with that, because that is what the brother uh, Austin is responding to at this point. But let's go.
1920s, during the Second Congress of the Communist International there in Moscow. The communists were trying to figure out how to basically penetrate the United States. And there was an American journalist by the name of John Reed. He was very much of a muckraker of sorts. And he told the delegation that the way to do it is through the Negro. He said that the Negro, by and large, in America, is the Negro lacks a kind of political consciousness, and we need to raise a political
So firstly, just really quick, I have to comment on this because he's making it seem like, they set on the outset to try to infiltrate through the Negro. you have to understand what communism is and the thought process behind it. So what they were trying to do is they were trying to uplift the bottom of society out of that shit, and they were trying to change society across the globe. So of course they're gonna start with the bottom of society. But the way how he's kind of framing it is trying to make it seem like, oh, they tried to infiltrate through the Negro and try to get through America, which that's not even the case. And many people who joined the Communist Party back in the 30s and 40s, they didn't look at it that way, and they weren't deceived, if you will, to where he's trying to make it seem like black people were deceived by joining the Communist Party, and that's only because obviously he's a hundredaire who wants to defend capitalism, and that's just how that works. But no, it wasn't a thing to where they were trying to infiltrate through the Negro. No, they were just trying to uplift people, and if it meant going through these people, which were black people, to up in this system of capitalism, then obviously that's where the fuck you start. Duh, it only makes sense. Why would you try to start with white people who got every fucking thing at the time to try to tell them about communism? That doesn't make sense. They wouldn't agree with it because their lives were going perfectly fine at the time, as long as they kept the Negro underneath them. So of course they would have to start at the lower level. No different than what they did in Russia at the time, at the turn of the century. They did the same exact thing. So I just wanted to put that in there. Shout out Lustro 40 Piece.
Consciousness of the American Negro. And so as a result of this, Vladimir Lenin himself greenlit the use of any means necessary to raise the political consciousness of the American Negro. So over the course of the 1920s, we saw all these race riots spring up seemingly out of nowhere. Whether you're talking about...
So hold on one more time. He says that we seemingly saw these race riots just pop up out of nowhere. We seemingly saw race riots just pop up out of nowhere. Like, hold on. Black people were under Jim Crow during this same fucking time. So, had it not been for communism, he's acting like communism was the reason for the uprisings, which that is fucking patently false. Because why stop there? Why not go to the 1800s before 1865 when we were so-called free? What was the reason for those uprisings when we were still on plantations? It was specifically for black people to free themselves. So by him even saying that is ridiculous just on its face.
About the Tulsa so-called race massacre. They called it the race riot for a long time, but now they call it the race massacre. Again, all across the country, we saw these race riots, and the question became, what's the hidden hand behind these riots? Because, from the 1800s into the 1920s, you see relative success, or let me say, an upward trajectory as it pertains to Black Americans. This is documented by the late Walter E. Williams.
Yes, so according to him, the upward trajectory would be, instead of being a sharecropper, you can just be a maid at someone's fucking home. Or you could work a job to where you're getting paid pennies on the fucking dollar. Like, come on, give me a break. No, there's always a reason for this, and honestly, it had nothing to fuck to do with communism, because people were rioting, people were wanting to make social change for themselves before they even had a thought of communism. The only thing that communism structured that shit. It structured it. It gave them an actual plan to put into place to try to achieve the thing that they were already trying to achieve, which was freedom. And see, so much we say, okay, black people want freedom, black people want freedom. Where in this time that we're talking about, the 30s and 40s, black people didn't need freedom like from being slaves. We were wanting freedom from the system that captivated us at the time. So he's patently wrong about this. And he's trying to blame it on communism, which doesn't even make sense in the grand scheme. Because even if you were to subtract communism from the equation, you still have a group of people that are that were treated as less than, and that were on the fucking bottom, and they were going to stay on the bottom as long as the people above them wanted it to stay that way. Thus, the uprisings.
Williams, this is documented by Thomas Hull, among many other scholars. You saw this upward trajectory, this upward mobility. And there was this interesting speech that was delivered by Manning Johnson, either 1956, 1957, somewhere thereabout. And he made an interesting point, which was that the communists wanted the Negro to unite not with ordinary white people, but with the white communists. The reality of it is that the communists believed in their ideology.
Well, hold on. Fucking duh. Duh. Why would communists from other countries try to sell us a dream, black people at the time, to say, hey, you know what? Go and join with the capitalist whites. No. They wanted us to join with the other poor, downtrodden whites to help them understand, yo, there's really not a difference between us. We're actually both just poor. We're both just poor. So when he's saying this, he's trying to obfuscate the fucking actual point of black people's plight, which I think is fucking disgusting in a way. Of course, we're gonna associate with like. That's just how it happens. Black people associate with black people. Poor people associate with poor people. Like, that's where the movement starts. That's where it's fomented. That's how this shit happens.
Ideology, and they believed that their ideology would bring about genuine liberation. And they were pretty much perplexed by the fact that there were so many blacks who were beginning to make their way in America through conventional means, through the free market. They were.
This is not true. That there weren't so many blacks that were making their way through the free market. This is a lie. There weren't so many blacks that were making their way through the free market. That's a lie. The majority of black people still lived under the fucking poverty line, so much so we had to group together and practice black economics to even allow ourselves to have some semblance of regular fucking life. And even with that fact, you also have to look at all of these situations to where you had white people come into black towns, tear them down, flood it with water, paint it over, things of that nature. So, like, this is just all bullshit and fluff.
In a sense, taking seriously the program of men like Booker T. Washington, who said, cast down your bucket where you are. This was rendering genuine upward mobility. If I'm Joe, the shoe store owner, as a black man, and I'm able to provide a service to my community, I'm able to provide shoes for the local miners, the local Negro, school teacher, and the children and everything else. If there's a race riot where tomorrow my business is no longer there, but then I open my newspaper and I see an ad from the Communist Party through their front, the IWW.
Yeah, let's just use that point really quick. Let's say you're Joe, the shoe owner. And then Joe the shoe owner then opens up another store to where he's paying his employees pennies on a fucking dollar, to where he gained so much power to where now Joe the shoe owner is making decisions that were supposed to be made by people that were voted into office of this town, and he's usurping that fucking authority, which we see today with Elon Musk and others. Well, that's a goddamn problem. But this is what capitalism allows and wants us to go in the way of. So yes, I got a problem with Joe the fucking shoe owner, because he's trying to make it seem like, oh, Joe the shoe owner is just Joe the shoe owner. No, he's not. Joe the shoe owner is wanting to open up more businesses so then he can gain power, so he can use that power to leverage it and lean on public officials to do his bidding. That's the goddamn difference.
Join the Communist Party or join the IWW, join this union or that union, many of which were actual communist fronts. If I join this organization, they will protect me from the racist bigots and so on and so forth. The idea was to breed friction.
No. It was never a time where people were thinking that communism were going to help black people or protect them from racist whites. Because that was just the times that we lived in during those times. This is just what it was. Joining the Communist Party wasn't going to fucking stop that shit. But what joining the Communist Party would do is that it would allow us to gain and formulate alliances with poor white people to where it would mitigate some of that shit. To where poor white people wouldn't be as racist to black people and engage in that shit. Because a lot of times, excuse me, A lot of times what happened is these rich white capitalists, what they would do is they would employ the poor racist whites to do their fucking bidding, so they wouldn't have to get their hands dirty. Because if you know what you think about capitalism, these motherfuckers are not trying to get their hands dirty. Their money speaks for them and precedes them.
Between Southern Negroes and Southern whites, or the NAACP. Either one, whether you're taking the socialist route by way of the NAACP, or whether you're taking a more hardline communist route through some of these communist front groups. The idea was to get you at least out of the mindset of taking on this kind of free market means to becoming successful. So that was a point of the kind of agitation and propaganda. And I'm building to King. So when we look at, for example, Robin G. Kelly's, I think it's Robin D.G. Kelly or something like that. He considers himself a Marxist, feminist, black man. He wrote a book called Hammer and Hoe. And Hammer and Hoe documents.
Yeah, I suggest you guys go read that book. I got through half of it. When he mentioned this, I was like, damn, I got to go back and read the rest of that book. But I got through half of it, but it's a pretty good book.
Communist activity, specifically in the South, in places like Montgomery, Alabama, Atlanta, places like that. And he documents communist activity in the South dating as far back as the 1930s. And so by the time King comes into the picture, he was born around the Great Depression, the era of the Great Depression, and he would come of age. What's interesting about King is that his father, Daddy King, he himself frequented some of the events that were put on by some of these communist front groups, including the Southern Negro Youth Congress, which was a communist front group. And he himself was a proponent of the social gospel, which I'm sure we'll get to here in a bit.
As in, you're saying that Dr. King's father was a proponent of
Dr.
the
King's
social
father,
gospel.
in his unpublished memoirs, I'm sure you know, he considers himself a proponent of the social gospel.
Well, the gospel is, I would just ask this question, is the gospel not inherently social?
That's an interesting question. There's always been a social component to the gospel, but the gospel starts first and foremost with repentance.
Yes.
See, this is the shit that I don't like about these fucking coons. Because when you're looking at the Bible and the gospel, it is inherently social. And he attempted to skate away and move from the actual question that the brother asked. He said, well, isn't it social? The answer is yes, because even if you look at the things that Jesus is quoted as saying and doing, these things were inherently social. They were inherently social, which some would call socialism. When he took the bread and fed every fucking body, he took the fish and fed, 1,000 people or whatever the case may be. These are systems that they hadn't constructed yet, which would be later called socialism and furthermore communism. They didn't construct these systems yet, and for him to be a Christian to forego that, to try to say, hey, yeah, well, whatever. Well, why didn't he counterpoint and say, well, no, it was capitalist and Jesus was a capitalist, and let me show you why. The reason why he can't say that is because you don't find that in the Gospels, and nowhere do you find that in the goddamn Bible. You don't find it anywhere. It's inherently socialist. I'll give you an example real quick before we continue. Even when it talks about when a person loses their mother and father and they become an orphan, what you're supposed to do is when they would have their feast days and they do their offerings and shit like that, when they do their offerings, they're supposed to take a part of that and make sure that they give it to the orphans. Now, he's a capitalist. He doesn't think that the orphans should get a fucking thing if they didn't work for it. But socialism says everybody should fucking eat. And that's what the Bible promotes, that everybody should eat. Even if you didn't work for it, none of that. And this is exactly what the Bible says. This is exactly what Jesus was running around doing. But for some reason, that escapes him. And I think the point is made when he tried to be as elusive as he thought he was trying to be by not answering that point. And it's unfortunate that the brother Chad Jackson didn't challenge him on that.
I agree
the
with
individual repenting. And so to try to politicize it and to coerce your neighbor to part with their money by way of the tax system,
No, 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 no. You didn't have to coerce your neighbor to part with their money or part with their belongings or part with their food because this is something you had to do. It was a part of the system that they were engaged in at the time. This was the Jews that this Bible talks about. This was the system that they were engaged in because they looked at it. Well, how can we have a structured society if we just allow the fucking homeless and the orphans to just not eat? What kind of system can we have? We go into war left and right. People are parents, mothers and fathers are dying left and fucking right. How can we have a society if we're not trying to bring up the children that they bared, partially reared, or whatever you want to talk about? How can we operate in a system that the younglings, we just do away with them? It doesn't make any sense. This is like today. This is like today to where you see Donald Trump is saying, hey, I'm trying to take away, he wants to take away money for child care for like 5 different states and things of that nature. Well, hold on. Well, if you don't allow these people to get child care, then the fucking parents can't go to work. If the parents aren't able to work and contribute to fucking society, then how do you have a society? How do you have a society if the parents don't work and they want to work, but all they need is that little nudge to where they can get a little bit of money from the government so somebody can watch their fucking kids instead of them having to pay $300-400 a goddamn week for childcare? It's crazy. Like Wild Fun says, ironically, that's what welfare is for, to keep the poor and homeless off the goddamn streets. Exactly. You keep the poor and homeless off of the streets and you implement them into society to where now that homeless person, instead of being homeless, now this person can go and get a job churning butter. Now this poor person, and instead of you destroying their fucking life to where they don't have no home, how about you make sure that they got a home to where now they can go have a job to do whatever it is that society necessitates for them to do. But as a capitalist, you don't give a fuck about nobody. And this is the problem with these motherfucking coons, is that they don't care about anybody. It's them, their pocketbook first. So he's actively lying at this point because the Bible says otherwise. And I wish the brother Chad would have challenged him, but he moved it on to some fucking biblical bullshit about belief and all of this nonsense.
That they might then implement some kind of benevolence, even though your tax-paying neighbor may not agree with you in terms of how benevolence should be distributed. So on.
That's bullshit. It had nothing to do with benevolence. It had nothing to do with benevolence. It had everything to do with that was the society that they were a part of. So they acted as if they were in that society because they were in that society. When these people went to go give their food to the homeless and pay their tithes, where the fuck do you think the tithes went? It went to those people. Because see, the people were challenged with paying tithes, but guess who was tasked with something? It was the priests. They were tasked with making sure that the homeless and the poor and the orphans, that they had somewhere to go, that they had fucking food. They had a task too. So it has nothing to fuck to do with benevolence. It has everything to do with this is the system that you live under and you will follow the goddamn rules. That's it. That's all.
On and so forth. That is not the gospel at all.
Well, I would think that when the master when the rich young ruler came to Jesus and asked him, "What shall I do to inherit eternal life?" and Jesus said, "What is written in the law? How readest thou?" And he goes through the list of commandments and he says, "These have I kept since my youth." And Jesus, he gets to the point where he says, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." And the lawyer asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" Now that question could have very easily ended up in thin air as a philosophical or theological discussion. But the Lord took that question and he put it on a dangerous curve between Jerusalem and Jericho. When he talked about the man that falls among thieves, and a Jewish priest and a Jewish Levite pass by on the other side and they don't stop to help him. And finally another man of another race comes down. Right, the Good Samaritan narrative. Now the question is, when Jesus asked this rich young ruler, who is it that was this man's neighbor when he was at a time of need? He said, "Him that showed mercy. Go and do thou likewise." That is a social application of the gospel itself. The gospel is not just repentance. The gospel is repent and believe. And
Facts. It's repentance, belief, and work. It's repentance, belief, and work. Now, a lot of them say, "Hey, well, you know, your works, only your works ain't gonna get you there." Yeah, you're right, and only your belief ain't gonna fucking get you there. You're right. These things all work in concert. But see, when you're a capitalist-minded, disgusting fucking hundred air, you don't understand this shit. So you want to do everything that's fucking antithetical to what the scripture says because you're a capitalist, but you also want to lean on the goddamn scriptures. Nigga, no.
The way that Dr. King and the way that the civil rights leaders used that message was to force the United States of America to grant black Americans the very thing that the Constitution promised.
Well, you're jumping ahead, and we have to recontextualize this. The social gospel that King was preaching was born not out of the Bible, but born out of the work of Walter Rauschenbusch, who in the late 19th century wrote a book called Christianity and the Social Crisis. And he himself was a Marxist, Walter Rauschenbusch. In fact, he went to London and he was enamored of what was called the Fabian Society. The Fabian Society, like Marx, agreed in a kind of radical change in the social order of things. However, they disagreed with Marx in that Marx wanted a fast.
Well, let me say this, Web Funk. You know, Denmark and Nordic countries, they're not the greatest example, but they are a pretty good example of how these things can work. Because ultimately, these Nordic countries that you're referring to, they are capitalists without a shadow of a doubt, but they have a lot of social fucking safety nets. You know that us here in America, we envy like a motherfucker. So much so that we call them socialists when they're actually not. And that's part of the problem, is that people in America, they hold up this system and hold up this culture when it's actually fucking us all over. It's actually fucking us all over. But they don't care as long as they feel like they go to work, can start a business, and can one day become that fucking millionaire or billionaire that can then oppress other poor people. Like, that's really their wet fucking dream. But I do agree for the most part. The only problem is birth rates are extremely low because quality of life is a premium priority. Well, yeah, that it all tracks and it makes sense. Because if I have more time to spend on my fucking self and more money to spend on my goddamn self, I'm going to choose that versus having 10, 11 fucking kids, of course. But at the same time, when I choose to have kids, why aren't a lot of things that they have afforded to us? Being supposedly the richest country in the fucking world. Well, why is it that everybody in America is not able to take 3 to 4 months off from work, living in so-called the richest country in the world? The answer to that is yes, we can do it, but capitalists don't want you to do it. Because see, the problem isn't just making profit. The problem is making more profit than you made last year. Because if you made $1 billion in profit this year, but you made if you made 999 million the year after, well, you got a problem. You got a problem. You're gonna get fired from your CEO job. They're gonna replace you. You're still gonna be well off because you already made like 30 fucking million that year. But this is how this system works. Because if you don't make more profit than you made last year, then you're fucking useless to the company and the shareholders because they want profit. They want to be able to extort and make money by not doing shit. That's the whole game. That's the whole jig, is to make money by not doing any fucking thing.
All of a sudden, upspringing of a revolution, workers of the world unite. He basically uttered in the Communist Manifesto. Whereas the Fabian Society, they envisioned a slow, incremental, gradual march through the institutions. They were more patient than the outright communists. And so what Walter Rauschenbusch did is he extracted the gospel from the gospel. He envisioned the social gospel, but he extracted the salvific power that comes only from Christ from his philosophy or theory.
Yes.
And he believed that the way to bring about salvation was through political action, through political policy, such and so forth. So that's what King was actually coming out of. In fact, he learned about Walter Rauschenbusch. Christianity and Social Crisis was one of his favorite books, as you all know.
Yes.
And
But Dr. King, I would say this, though, that Dr. King repeatedly condemned in a multiplicity of his sermons and in his own writings the incompatibility. He condemned communism by stating plainly that communism and Christianity are inherently incompatible because communism is too secularistic of a worldview to ever be compatible with Christianity. In fact, Dr. King, in one of his last books, Where Do We Go From Here, stated out of his own mouth in his last writing that in order for the Negro to truly grow in this country, we must accept that he is neither totally African nor totally Western. He is a true and authentic hybrid, a combination of two cultures. The cultures that he was referencing is the fact that the Christian religion that we were practicing at that time led to the successful integration into the American economic system in a way that hadn't been produced for the decades beforehand. There has been no other throughout the entire civil rights movement. Not one leader ever produced more on the books legislation for Black Americans or for the greater collective minority as a whole in this country than the work of Dr. King, which is tied
much
back
to our
to
detriment.
Well, in what way?
That political solutions aren't going to fix anything. If anything,
Boom, and there you go. There you go. See, this is the mark of a fucking coon. This is the mark of a coon. So when they tell you, political solutions, listen to these words very carefully. Political solutions don't work. But guess what we have the ability to do? We have the ability to actually look at the fucking advent of fucking political solutions and see that these things work. We have the ability to look at our fucking posterior and see that these shits have worked. So you mean to tell me when Abraham Lincoln constructed the Emancipation Proclamation that shit didn't work? It did nothing whatsoever? Stop it. It did a lot. And furthermore, what the brother Chad is referring to when it came to the legislation that Dr. King pioneered and was able to get passed, a lot of that shit did fucking work. So it worked so much so that we're here today in being able to speak the way how we speak today and operate and move in the society the way how we move today. And he's 100% correct. If you look at the leaders before that time, nobody was able to do it how Dr. King did it. This is why when these disgusting fucking ghouls of the ISUPK say, oh man, we hate Dr. King because, he gave us integration and all this other stupid shit. Listen, man, we have to look at the cost-benefit analysis. If we look at the cost-benefit analysis, we can say objectively that we are better off with integration than without it. Are there a lot of downfalls? Are there a lot of pitfalls? Are there a lot of fucked up things about it to where we lose culture? Culture is erased. Yes, these things do exist, emphatically, without a shadow of a doubt. But what we cannot say that we would be better off if white people were just hating us and being able to string us up on a fucking tree whenever the fuck they wanted. No, that's bullshit. Thendo says, peace, bro. It says, Q, dig, when you go live these times, put on my headphones at work and go in. Oh, yeah, you already know, bro. You already know. But, yeah, so this brother Austin is trying to essentially say, hey, you know what? We were better off at this time because, these political solutions didn't work. I say bullshit. They did work. They did work. They work for every fucking body that's on the positive end of it. They work for everybody that's on the positive end of it. When you look at these so-called political solutions, as he termed it, when it came to corporations, to where they no longer had to invest in their employees, to where now they were able to utilize stock buybacks to inflate their fucking stock. Was that not a good thing for fucking corporations? Yes. But that was done through the means of what? Political solutions. When you look at the tax rate of these corporations, that was decreased by fucking 70%. Was that a good thing? Yes, it was. For the corporations, not for you and me. It was good for them. So he's full of shit when he says, oh man, political solutions don't work. Yes, the fuck they do. They have been working. They've always worked. But the problem is they didn't want black people and others in politics because they understood how this shit works. Why would white people actively want to keep black people out of politics if it didn't fucking work? Why would they want to keep us out of some shit that didn't fucking work? No, they knew that the shit worked. Come on, man. Give me a break.
They make matters worse.
Okay, how so?
Well, let me circle back first. I'll build to your question.
So now he's about to go on a soliloquy about bullshit. So instead of just answering the question, well, how is the political solutions worse? Now he has to buttress his point with bullshit that really doesn't even matter. And he's never going to answer the question. And if you've been tracking, this is like the third time he's done that. So when the brother asks him a question, this is what he does. He said, well, let's start here. Well, no, let's not start there. Can you start by answering the fucking question?
But this idea that King, and we're not going to skip past this part, that King said that Christianity and communism are incompatible.
Right.
This isn't an idea that originated with him. In fact, he actually plagiarized the work of one Robert J. McCracken.
What the fuck does Dr. King saying that communism and Christianity is incompatible have to do with you saying that political solutions don't work? You said political solutions don't work. He asked you, well, how so? And then you go on to tell us, well, Dr. King said that communism and Christianity doesn't work. See, these are the games that they play. And it's unfortunate that the brother Chad Jackson was, he I don't know what it was, but he didn't track well enough to hold his feet to the fire and say, he was chasing points, basically. I would have let that point go. I don't even care about that. Okay, communism and Christianity isn't compatible. Cool. Let's get back to my point of how political solutions are not effective. Let's get right back to that.
Who in a 1951 book wrote, it was actually a book called Questions People Ask.
And see, he's grandstanding. He's trying to show niggas like, okay, I read this book. I read that book. I don't give a fuck what book you read for real, bro. I really don't care. You made a statement by saying that the efficacy of political solutions are very low or don't work. Get to that shit. I don't give a fuck what book you read about none of this shit. Tell me the book about how the efficacy is low on political solutions. Get to that fucking book. Did you read that book? Did you read that book?
He wrote this in 1951. And King would lift, almost verbatim in some instances, language when it comes to the question of how Christians should view communism. He took these words, didn't cite his source, and uttered them as though they were his own. And so when you look at some of his sermons that you mentioned, when you look at even some of the...
So because he didn't cite his source, what he's saying is, therefore, he stole it. Because he didn't cite his source, he stole it? The bar is too low for these coons, bro. The bar, listen, we gotta make the bar a lot higher for these coons. He plagiarized because he didn't cite his source. Huh? Was he in fucking college or some stupid shit to where he was writing a paper? No, he was giving a goddamn speech. and he was talking. And not only was he talking, giving a speech, he was speaking matter of fucking factly. Nigga, no, that's not how this shit works. I don't give a fuck who I quoted or said it. If I don't give you the, oh, you know what? Excuse me. There's a million motherfucking niggas out here. Let me stop and tell you where I got this from. The page, nigga, shut up. Like that shit is not necessary, bruh. I get it. If you talk about academia, okay, but you talk about a whole different setting at this point. Oh, he had a speech and he quoted some dude and he didn't cite his source. Yeah, you're right. Let me cite my source in the middle of the fucking protest. Nigga, shut up.
The things that were written in his books, which wasn't written by him, they were written by Stanley Levison, who was his ghostwriter, who was his editor. King would write some manuscripts. Yes, that's
So now instead of answering the question, because the question was still, how is political solutions not effective? He goes into attacking Dr. King on some fucking plagiarism trip. The question has not changed because the brother hasn't spoken again. And that's why I say, bro, I wish this brother would have just said, hold on, brother. Can we get back to my question? The question was, you know, the efficacy level of political solutions. Get back to that shit.
to be sure. But Stanley Levison would take over the project. He would beef it up. And what's interesting about Stanley Levison is Stanley Levison was an atheist. He was a secularist. He was ethnically Jewish, and that's not any red meat. That's just to say that he wasn't black, right? And he was following suit to the 1930s call that came down from Earl Browder, who was the then leader of the Communist Party.
Yo, this dude is a great redirectionist. He's an amazing filibusterer, a great redirectionist, because he's not going to answer this question. Fuck no if you think he's going to answer this question. With all of this shit he's talking about, attacking King, he's never going to answer this question.
Where they specifically had this plan to infiltrate the church, right? Because what they found, what the communists found, is that.
So he went from, let's walk it down, y'all. So he just went from Dr. King was a plagiarizer to now communists are infiltrating the fucking black church. He's not answering this question, bro. I'm sorry, he ain't answering that question.
One of their biggest hurdles of disseminating their ideology into the West and into America in particular is the fact that you have this Christian faith. You have a church-going people who are genuinely hostile to the spread of communism. So how do we jump this hurdle? Earl Browder.
No. You don't have a Christian people that are against the spread of communism. What you have is you have a Christian people that are fucking propagandized. That's what you have. Because the same Christian people that are reading this goddamn Bible, these same black Christian people that are reading this fucking Bible, they understood, as well as their mothers' fathers, their mothers' fathers' fathers, their mothers' mothers' fathers' fathers, they all understood that you feed the fucking poor. You clothe the goddamn hungry. They all understood that. As black people, we fucking understood that. So no, they weren't adverse to communism. They were propagandized to be against communism because black people read the fucking book. Black people read the book. Black people were so fucking ensconced in this goddamn book that we thought Jesus was white. So no, brother, that's not what it was. We were propagandized to think that communism was a fucking bad thing when socialism and communism was in the fucking book from the beginning. It's in the book. So when you had poor black people that didn't have no fucking food, guess what? Other black people fed them. You want to know why? Partially due to that goddamn book. But now you want to say, oh, well, see, you know, you had a group of black people, you know. No. That's not what it was, bro. They was socialized just like every fucking body else in America to try and put them up on game to hate communism when the shit that they held dearly and went to fucking church every goddamn Sunday to study and listen to was actively promoting goddamn socialism. Actively promoting it. Exactly, just like the fucking Black Panthers. This shit is inherent and replete throughout the fucking book. This is part of the reason why black people practice that shit. I ain't gonna say the whole reason because when you come from slavery, all you fucking know is trying to help you and yours. All you know is to try to help you and yours. But the other part was, hey, we read this fucking book and it says Jesus was running around feeding 5,000 people with a fucking loaf of bread or fish or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, that helped too. So no, we weren't adverse to fucking communism. It was the propaganda.
Believed that you can't be hostile to these people. You can't be hostile to their faith. What you must do instead is infiltrate. And so what the communists then did in the 1930s is that they infiltrated churches and seminaries, both Protestant and Catholic.
Are you fucking kidding me, bro? You have to infiltrate the black church, which was already filled with giving people who didn't let people just be poor out of nowhere, that didn't just let people go hungry out of fucking nowhere, that didn't just let people have no fucking gifts, the little kids, for Christmas. You mean to tell me the communists, the big bad communists had to infiltrate that society that was already fucking practicing that shit? The communists had to infiltrate a fucking society that was already doing the same shit that they were fucking doing? Is that what you're telling me? The big bad fucking communists from Russia had to infiltrate a society of fucking black people, church going and loving black people that were already doing that shit. That were already doing it. It makes no goddamn sense. Makes no sense. How do you infiltrate the black church and try to preach communism to them, which is help out your fellow man and all of this other shit when they were already doing it? How do you infiltrate that? The shit is made up, y'all. It's just straight made up.
Dodd wrote about this in her book School of Darkness. Fulton Sheen actually wrote about this as well. The communists were actively infiltrating the church. And so the reason that's important to bring that...
Notice he keeps saying the communists were infiltrating the church, but what he won't say is some of the activities that they engaged in. Hey, Mr. Austin, why won't you tell us some of the activities that the communists, when they were attempting to infiltrate or did infiltrate, what were they telling black church-going members? Hey, you know what? Don't let that family on 7th Street starve. Hey, Christmas is coming around. How about we hold something to where we give toys to the poor? You mean the shit that we were already fucking doing in our communities? You mean the shit we were already doing? Hey, such and such is about to get their lights turned out. Let's put some money to fucking together and make sure they shit gets paid. You mean to tell me they were trying to infiltrate and do the same thing that we were already fucking doing? Excuse me. Au contraire, my friend. You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. This is why you keep saying they were infiltrating. They were infiltrating. Well, what was the infiltration? What did it yield?
That up is because this is the ilk from which Stanley Levison came.
Well,
Before he actually worked with King, he worked with a Christian publication called The Churchman. So what is an atheist doing? Trying to, working with this so-called Christian magazine, this Christian...
Oh, what is an atheist doing trying to help the church and niggas in the church? Let me tell you, as an atheist, let me just tell you, you know why I would preach communism to the church? You know why I would preach communism today to the fucking church? It's because the church has fucking lost their way. That's why. The church is no longer that. The black church today is no longer that. We can look at years past and we can see that this was the black church. Duh, of course. But today, it's no longer the black church. We got fucking mega pastors and mega churches and all of this other fucking stupid shit. Duh, yes. I don't want to go to your fucking church. I don't want to go to your church, but I do want to come together with you to help the people in your fucking church. I don't want to come to your church. I'm cool off of that message. When you talk about Jesus rose from the dead and all of that other shit, I don't care. But when it comes to that other shit Jesus was talking about helping people and feeding people, that's what I'm about. So yes, why is an atheist coming? Yeah, nigga, that's why. It's because I don't have to agree with the entirety of your fucking message, but I also can understand that we both agree on certain parts of your message. And that's what I'm there for. I'm not in there to sit down and fucking you tell me about Jesus and Elijah. Who gives a fuck? I'm cool. Because you got to understand, I live in the community too. I live here too. He's trying to make this shit seem like the black church was some kind of monolithic fucking empire. Nigga, no the fuck it wasn't. You had niggas in there that wouldn't go. Nigga, the day I turned, was it like 14, 15, and I got the option to go to church, guess what? I never went a fucking again. I never went a fucking again. The moment I got the option, I never went again. Never step foot inside of that motherfucker again until, niggas start dying and you gotta go to funerals. Never step foot in that shit again. I wasn't an atheist, but I was cool off of that shit. Like most people are. Especially men. A lot of us don't fuck with that shit. We just don't. So yeah, nigga, that's something we have in common. Well, why do you have an atheist? That's it's crazy. Crazy as hell.
Levison came.
Well, Stanley Levison.
Hold on. Before he actually worked with King, he worked with a Christian publication called The Churchman. So what is an atheist doing, trying to, working with this so-called?
Oh my God. Hold on, let me translate this for y'all. What is a black man doing trying to help other black people erect something to help them out? What the fuck is a black man doing trying to help other black people build some shit to help all of us the fuck out? Nigga, it doesn't matter that I'm a fucking atheist. Nigga, I'm still a human at the end of the goddamn day. I'm still poor and black, nigga. I'm not an atheist first. What the fuck are you talking about? Nigga, there's no atheist card that when the police pull me over, I just pull up my atheist card and be like, hey, my nigga, listen, I know y'all killing black folks, but I'm an atheist. He gonna be like, what? Sir, exit the car. Watch your head. Put your hands behind your back. There's no fucking atheist card. No, nigga, they was still black. I'm still black, nigga. I'm black first. This is not something I can escape. I can escape Christianity. I can fucking escape Islam. But I cannot escape being black, nigga. And even if you try to bleach your motherfucking skin, guess what? They're gonna know. So stop the fucking games.
Christian magazine, this Christian journal, essentially what he's doing is he's trying to, in a sense,
Yeah, he's one of them smart dumb niggas who's read a lot of shit but can't actually process the fucking information. That's really what's going on. But at the same time, he can process it, but he's he's a coon, so he's overlooking shit on purpose.
Infiltrate, just like many communists were at the time, especially during the Cold War, infiltrate the church so as to subvert or to blur the lines between Christianity and communism. This was the editor. This was the.
There is no blurring of the lines of communism and Christianity. It goes hand in fucking hand, bro. It goes hand in hand. If you read the fucking book, out of all of the evil shit that they was doing in that fucking book, raping little girls, killing niggas to take their land, but when it came to their people, Those Jews, when it came to their fucking people, nigga, they was taking care of their people, nigga. They was taking care of their people. The poor, the homeless, the fucking nigga, they was doing it. They instituted that shit. Moses instituted that shit. When he went up on that so-called mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, he came back down. And it was like, yo, this is what we got to do. What they call them in the book? They said the poor, the homeless, the lame. You had niggas that was blind, niggas that had broken bones, niggas that couldn't fucking work. So yeah, nigga, they took care of those fucking people. And this is the only thing that communists is actually fucking saying. We ain't saying nothing different. Communists are not saying nothing fucking different, bro, than what the Bible is saying. There's a few added things in there, but damn, like the core message is the same. When it comes to helping people, not, what the Bible niggas was doing, like raping girls and taking over niggas' land. Not that shit. But when you talk about actually helping people, members of your fucking society, come on. It's the same goddamn message.
For all intents and purposes, PR person, the ghostwriter, the speechwriter for Martin Luther King, a so-called Negro minister.
Well, there were multiple. First of all, let's go back. There were multiple instances and multiple allegations of not just Martin Luther King, but multiple.
See, this is what he fucked up at, because I didn't forget, but the brother forgot. Peace, what's going on, Cuban Crisis? The brother forgot because he initially asked him, hey, why are you saying that political solutions are not effective? That was the original questions. So him being the great redirectionist that he is, now he got the brother on this shit. Chad Jackson, brother, you need to get you a fucking pen and a pad next debate and write this shit down. I ain't even got a pen and a pad, but this nigga's taking you all the way the fuck off. All the way off, because you could have just nailed him on that fucking point, because he's trying to say that politics don't fucking work, which in actuality, nigga, they try to keep niggas out of politics for three, and they successfully did it for about 300 years. They successfully did it for 300 years. Bro, stop it. But let's continue.
Black graduates of high institutions and high universities that had been accused of plagiarism upon multiple investigations. And while this is not an excuse for Dr. King, I have never seen any objective evidence produced that Stanley Levison wrote the book "Where Do We Go From Here," which was published while Dr. King was on vacation in Jamaica. In fact, what is well documented is that he spent a week in Jamaica by himself, isolated, writing the book of his own volition. So I have no objective evidence that proves that Levison wrote that book, which is the book that I just quoted from. And what is, again...
Right, and the brother's trying to say that Dr. King didn't write the books that he wrote. It's just a whole fucking hodgepodge of coonery. But watch this. It's going to all culminate in a moment. Trust me, in about another... maybe 5 minutes, just stay tuned. It's going to culminate to where you're going to see this other brother to why he thinks the way that he thinks. You're going to see it, and it's all going to click. Because I'm watching this shit, and I ain't going to lie. We 16 minutes in right now. And at this point, I was about to turn it off. I'm like, this is just another run-of-the-mill fucking coon. But then he said something very interesting, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, oh, that's why he thinks the way he thinks. But watch this. It's very pertinent. Watch this, y'all.
Again, more interesting is the core of my argument is the gospel of Jesus Christ is deeper than repent. We have to agree at some point. First of all, we have to start. Communism's attempt to infiltrate Christianity does nothing to destroy the legacy that Dr. King produced by producing legislation such as the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, and the Equal Housing Act of 68. All of these laws serve to mitigate and destroy the economic disparity that was largely created by segregation.
No,
and I don't know that
they
that's...
serve to expand the power of the federal government at the expense of genuine liberty for the individual. That's what they serve to do.
So?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Please go ahead.
No. Please go ahead. Respond to that. I don't mind. how was the Civil Rights Act of '64, Voting Rights Act of '65, and the Equal Housing Act of '68 an overreach of government power?
Well, the Voting Rights or the Civil Rights Act of 1964 infringed upon one's individual right to freedom of association.
How so?
And insofar that if I'm a business owner and I put in my own blood, sweat, and tears, and I took out a loan maybe to start my own business, I should have the right to discriminate against whom I wish to discriminate.
And there it is, y'all. There it is. There it is, y'all. There it is. Yo, I heard that shit, bruh. I lost my fucking mind because I knew at this point, I'm like, okay, well, this is where the rabbit hole is about to go down. I said, he's looking for this pat on the head for white folk. What self-respecting black man would ever say that you should be able to have the fucking right to... Let me rewind that, y'all. This shit is crazy. It's so crazy. I'm just sitting there. This is why I said, if you guys have been listening from the beginning, this is why I said I wanted to just do a whole video. I'll just do like a little quick live or whatever, but I wanted to do a systematic breakdown and just fuck him up for real. But check this out.
The Civil Rights Act of '64, Voting Rights Act of '65, and the Equal Housing Act of '68 an overreach of government power.
Well, the Voting Rights or the Civil Rights Act of 1964 infringed upon one's individual right to freedom of association.
How so?
And insofar that if I'm a
This nigga is such a fucking coon. He's saying that act infringed on white people's rights to where they shouldn't have to serve us, but he doesn't look at the fact that being a fucking slave infringed on our fucking rights as human fucking beings. Like this shit is all crazy, bro. This is bizarro world. It's bizarro world to actually listen to this shit. Yo, it's fucking crazy.
business owner and I put in my own blood, sweat, and tears, and I took out a loan maybe to start my own business, I should have the right to discriminate against whom I wish to discriminate.
I should have the right to discriminate against whoever the fuck I should have the right. Now, let's look at this in context. Let's look at this in context, y'all, because we have to. So, if we go back and let's just say things were, because this is how things used to be, to where they did have the right to infringe on anybody's right to say, fuck it, if I don't want to serve you, I don't have to serve you, thus segregation. We already know this. So he's telling you that he's okay with not being able to go to a particular college because he was black. He's okay with not being able to eat at a place that he wants to eat at because, like, that shit is fine. He's totally okay with white people then using that right to then string him up and never get prosecuted for it. Like, it's just all fucking retarded. Bro, like, this is why I despise capitalism too, because this nigga, you don't have a fucking business, nigga. This nigga talk about, well, if I have a business and I took out a loan, hey, earth to stupid. Earth to shit for brains. You don't get a loan, nigga. Do you understand that? Nigga, you don't get a fucking loan. How about that? Well, if I open up a business and I've gotten a loan, nigga, you don't get a loan, bro. You don't get a loan, number one. And number two, if you did get a loan, you're going to be forced into this subsect of society. You're going to be forced into a place of society to where you can't be no fucking Fortune 500 CEO or whatever the fuck. Because you're always going to either stay down and then white people can come and just steal your fucking ideas and inventions and then just use that shit to sell to the greater society. You fucking idiot. Oh, if I take out a loan and I create something, guess what white people could do? Guess what white people could do? They could just take your fucking idea and just sell it to the well, at the time, it was like 75% white people. They could sell it to them. And not only would they sell it to the 75% of white people in the country at the time, they would then encompass what the fuck you were selling to make it to where black people had to then buy from the white people, and we wouldn't even buy from your shit anymore because your shit would be more expensive than how cheap they could make it. You fucking idiot. These niggas do not understand capitalism, bruh. They don't. When white people own all of the fucking cards on the goddamn table, they can make it so fucking cheap at a moment in time to where now we're forced to buy it over here. And now once we're forced to buy it over here, guess what? It eliminates the competition. We've seen this song and dance before. What did we see it with? Most recently, we saw it with the cabs. Why when you go to the city or downtown, you don't see any fucking yellow cabs? You want to know why? It's because Uber made it so fucking cheap to just go hit your phone, get you a goddamn Uber. They made it so cheap. Now that they've eliminated the competition for the yellow cabs, guess what's all left now? What's left now is fucking Uber, and they raise their fucking prices on your ass. So if you want to go a mile down the street, $11.99, and you still got a tip. It's a fucking hostile takeover. This dummy is talking about, well, if I go get a loan, nigga, under this society that you're fucking talking about, you don't get a loan, dummy. You don't get a loan. This shit is crazy.
Hey, I should have the right to serve whom I wish to serve. I should have the right to hire whom I wish to hire. And the decision as to whether I should stay in business or not should be left not to the government, but to the free market.
So you should be able to.
This dummy doesn't even understand the free market, which is so sad. He doesn't even understand the free market. Guess what? The Yellow Cab Company, they had access to the free market. But guess what the fuck happened? Uber came in, undercut they fucking ass, giving niggas $1.50, $2 rides, so much so that everybody got used to using Uber. Niggas don't even hail cabs no more. You want to know why they don't hail cabs? Because it ain't no fucking cabs being driven. And then, not only that, Uber locks you into their fucking ecosystem by saying, hey, you know what? We can help you buy a car. By charging you these fucking exorbitant rates to buy a car just to drive for them in fucking perpetuity. You're now driving for Uber in perpetuity, and then on top of that, they don't want to give you no fucking health care and shit. It's crazy. And this idiot thinks he fucking understands capitalism.
To discriminate against who you hire based on the color of their skin?
Yes, absolutely. Stay in business or not should be left not to the government, but to the free market.
So you should be able to discriminate against who you hire based on the color of their skin?
Yes, absolutely.
Yo, that's crazy. Yo, that's fucking crazy, bro. This motherfucker said you should be able to discriminate against people based off of the color of their fucking skin. God damn, bro. Capitalism is a fucking disease. It's a goddamn disease, bro. Coonism, capitalism, it's a fucking disease. You should be able to this is what his words. You should be able to discriminate against people based on the color of their fucking skin. Damn.
Here's the
So
thing.
wait a minute.
We have to be adults. We have to be adult enough to have this conversation.
So you
running to the government.
As
As
a black, hold on, I have to ask this. As a black man in 2025, you are saying that the Civil Rights Act of '64 was an overreach of constitutional authority because you should be allowed, as a business owner, to discriminate against someone based purely on the color of their skin.
You should be allowed, 100%. And here's why, Austin. If there is a owner of a certain establishment, let's say a barbecue restaurant, who don't like Negroes for no other reason than the fact that their skin color is black, I would rather know that he doesn't like Negroes for the fact that their skin color is black, rather than going into his establishment and he is having to serve.
You know why this argument doesn't work? Because he's pulling the old 1-2. Well, I would rather know that this person is a racist. Yeah, I would rather know this person is a fucking racist. But if I'm on fucking driving down 75 or 95 or whatever fucking turnpike, and I gotta stop and take a shit or a piss or I need some food, I don't give a fuck if you're a racist. I need to be able to get some food for my family. We all need to take a piss and shit so we can go on about our way. But what he's saying is, no. If you stop at the Quickie Mart or whatever the case may be, they should be able to say, no, because you're black, you can't piss here, you can't shit here, you can't buy shit from here. Huh? This is what he's saying, that white people, really, let's get the brass tacks. He's talking about white people. He's not talking about himself. He's not talking about himself because black people didn't even fucking operate like that. He's talking about white people. White people should have been able to continue to segregate and not allow us in their establishments based on the color of our skin. That's what he's really talking about. But he's trying to mask it by saying, as a business owner, no, you talk about white people, bro. You talk about white people.
Me because he's compelled to do so by the government and end up getting my food spat on or end up getting something poisoned or whatever the case may be. I would rather know who the bigot is, who the person who's discriminating against me is, versus them hiding.
You know what? That only works when there's 3 or 4 fucking McDonald's. To where I can say, oh, these motherfuckers over here is racist. I'm not shopping over here. I'm not spending my money with them. Because they're overtly racist, I'm not spending my money over there. That only works in those situations to where you have a multiplicity of destinations that you can convene. But when there's only one fucking place that you can stop at, no. That's fucking insane. I need to stop. My wife needs to use the bathroom. My daughter needs to use the bathroom. We need to get something to eat to continue doing what we're doing. And he's saying, no, white people should be able to fucking just say, fuck you niggas.
Behind this legislation that's supposed to make all things equal, but what it does in effect is it destabilizes, it demoralizes society.
No, in fact, what it did make all things equal. That's the point that he's running from, is that it actually did make all things equal from that regard, that yes, they couldn't turn us the fuck away anymore. They couldn't turn us away anymore. We didn't have to go to the top to watch a fucking movie. We could go sit wherever the fuck we wanted to watch a goddamn movie. What happens if all black people, not all black people, but black people go to watch a movie and all of the seats are filled at the top? Guess what? You don't get to watch the movie because the seats are filled. And we can't go to the bottom with the white folk. When there's literally 100 fucking seats available, we can't go watch the fucking movie. And this is the kind of world that he's advocating for. That's why I say, bro, these coons, bro, they are loud, proud, and unapologetic. And it's sad for real.
It breeds resentment.
How
in
does
the whole
it? How does it degrade society to do justly, to love mercy, and to do what's right? How does it degrade society to do unto others as you would them do unto you? How does that degrade society?
Because
How does actually?
Oh my God, that question right there. That question right there. That question right there really finished his ass off. How does it degrade society to do to others as you would want them to do to fucking you? How does that degrade society? Because as I stated, and we all know, black people didn't have blacks only restaurants. We didn't have black only water fountains. We didn't have black only fucking schools. Never existed. Never fucking existed. But white people did. So that tells you he's arguing from the point of view of white people. So how does it degrade society? Because he said, oh, that degraded society. How the fuck does this degrade society? Let's listen.
Applying the gospel degrades society.
What you're doing is you're playing fast and loose with the scriptures.
No.
Yes, the scriptures are for the remnant. The scriptures are for those who've decided.
He asked him, how does it degrade society? This nigga goes to the Bible and some fucking scriptures. He said, how does it degrade society? The nigga went to some fucking made up well, in his mind they're real, but some fucking scriptures. How about you deal with what niggas in that time in the 30s, 40s, and 50s were actually fucking dealing with? Why you going to some fucking scripture?
To repent and to put their trust and faith in Christ. We can't coerce people.
Nigga, fuck put my goddamn trust and faith in Christ, nigga. Christ ain't fucking overchange or do a goddamn thing. God ain't do a fucking thing for niggas. Is you crazy? The hell is wrong with these niggas? Oh, you're supposed to put your faith and love in Christ and fucking what? Is this nigga for real? Put your love and faith in Christ? Hold on, man. I gotta play this, y'all. I just gotta play this real quick. Hold on. What is shit? Okay, here you go.
I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth. God ain't never listen to no niggas' prayers. God take a nigga's prayers and throw them in the garbage. God don't pay niggas no mind. In fact, God hate niggas. Hate them with all the fury in his heart. Jesus don't love you, nigga. Jesus hate your black ass. Come talking that shit to me, talking about burning in hell.
Let me play that shit one more time. Cause I can't stand for a motherfucking nigga to tell me about Jesus and God and all of this. Nigga, fuck that. It's legislation that changed shit. It's niggas running out with fucking pitchforks and shotguns that changed shit. There wasn't no niggas that had their fucking face buried in no motherfucking book with gospels. Nigga, that ain't change it.
I tell you the truth. God ain't never listen to no niggas' prayers. God take a nigga's prayers and throw them in the garbage. God don't pay niggas no mind. In fact, God hate niggas. Hate them with all the fury in his heart. Jesus don't love you, nigga. Jesus hate your black ass. Come talking that shit to me, talking about burning in hell.
Yeah, I had to play that real quick, but let's get back to it.
Into obeying something that they don't believe in or that they don't agree with. Yes, we have basic rights as it pertains to the protection of property, as it pertains to the protection of life, so on and so forth. But to, again, take the Great Samaritan analogy and say, this is...
Hey, hold on real quick. Do me a quick favor. If you hadn't hit the like at this point, do me a favor, hit the like. I do appreciate that.
why we must pass legislation that coerces the taxpayer to be as benevolent as you.
Hold on. This nigga didn't just say what the fuck I think he just said. He didn't just say what the fuck I think he just said. Let's rewind that. Did this nigga just say we need to pass legislation? But I thought he just said, initially, the question that he refused to answer, he said political solutions don't work. Now the nigga is telling us that we need to pass legislation. I thought legislation didn't work, my nigga.
Take the Great Samaritan analogy and say, this is why we must pass legislation that coerces the taxpayer to be as...
Oh, we got to pass legislation now. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's pass legislation. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
benevolent as you want them to be. Whenever Jesus was preaching and teaching and everybody were following him,
When you're just
and the hour was getting late.
When niggas was following Jesus and he was preaching and all of this other motherfucking nigga shit you talk about, guess what? They had legislation. Jesus had legislation. It's called the law, statutes, and commandments of the fucking Bible, nigga. They had legislation that it was their duty to fucking follow. They had legislation about the Sabbath. They had legislation what you should do with a fucking dead body. They had legislation on what the fuck you should do when you offer up a dove or a cow or whatever the fuck. They had legislation on how you should treat the poor, the homeless, and the orphans. They had legislations, nigga. They had legislation. That fucking book that you hold on to is the fucking legislation. In the first 5 books, that's the legislation, nigga. And more specifically, the 2nd through the 5th. That's the fucking legislation. That's the legislation that they had. When Moses came down from 40 nights and 40 days, he initially first came down with the 2 tablets with 5 on each side, with the first 10 commandments. And then he went the fuck back up and he came down with the remaining of them shits. They had legislation. What's Matthew 5:17? Let's look it up.
Cuban Crisis says. Matt 5:17-19.
Yeah, let's read. What is this? Matthew 5:17. What is that? I know it says some shit. Oh, perfect. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. 100%, my brother. 100%. And that's exactly what the fuck Jesus came to do. He came to do some other shit. But when we talking about specifically the social aspect, come on. Like there's no getting the fuck around that, bro. If Jesus didn't have this social aspect, he wouldn't have took one fucking bread, a piece of bread, loaf of bread, and multiplied that bitch by 5,000. He wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have took one goddamn fish and multiplied that bitch by 3,000. He wouldn't have done that if the social aspect wasn't there. So now you have these fucking coons who are not only cooning, but they're now trying to meld capitalism with fucking the Bible. They're trying to mix these shits together. It's crazy.
What did his disciples say? The hour's getting late, send them into the market that they might be fed, and so on and so forth. Jesus looked at him.
Oh, it said send them into the market that they might be fed. It didn't say send them with no fucking money. It said send them into the market that they might be fed. Did Jesus give them a few shekels? No, he said just go to the fucking market and niggas is gonna feed you. You wanna know why? Because these niggas, his apostles were poor looking. That they were downtrodden. These weren't rich fucking men that he gathered up. He said go to the fucking market so you could be fed. He was making sure the niggas that was riding with him was gonna get fed. And Jesus understood that when niggas go to the market and you fucked up and the stores are closing down, they just finna give you some food. Go ahead, get you some food, bro. Here you go. This shit going into the garbage anyways. We can't use this tomorrow. This shit is going bad. They didn't live in no fucking neoliberalistic capitalist society to it was like, hey, I'd rather put this shit in the fucking garbage and pour bleach on it than give it to you. They didn't live in no society like that, but we live in a society like that. But we live in a fucking society like that. Oh, you said read the whole thing? All right, I'll pull it up and read the whole thing. I'll read it. It says here, do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them. Hold on. Are you talking about 5:17 or... Well, let me just read this. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you... Hold on. Let me put it on the screen so niggas can see. All right, there we go. Let me blow it up a bit so y'all can see it. It says here, do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Verse 18, for truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside any of these least of these Therefore, anyone who sets aside any of these least of commandments and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commandments will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. There we go. Oh, you talk about what the brother said. I gotta pull up that scripture. Tell me where it's at, and I'll pull it up. No. I remember what he said. When he sent the apostles to the market. Yeah, I'll pull that up.
Adam said, "You feed them." The objective to be benevolent is for the church, is for the Christian, is for it, that they might be fed, and so on and so forth. Jesus looked at him and said, "You feed them." The objective to be benevolent is for the church, is for the Christian, is for the person who actually put.
Oh, he just said what I just said. Ain't that crazy? It's for the church to do it. It's for the church to do it. He literally just said what I just said. It's for the church to fucking do it. Yeah. And are you telling me because you're not in a fucking edifice or some fucking building that you're not a part of the church? Yes, you still are a part of the church, even when you are in your home. You're still a part of the church when you out and about at your job. You're still a part of the church. That's still the fucking church. So yes, he's saying exactly what I'm saying. It's just that he's not understanding what Jesus was talking about. Because the church isn't the fucking building. It's not the fucking edifice. That's not what it is. The church is the people. So what he's saying is that he doesn't know what he's talking about, is that the people should feed them. Yeah, so when they went into the market, the people fed them. The people fed them. Now, let me ask you this question. Well, to the people that's listening. Is the government made up of people? I'm asking it one more time. Is the church made up of people? Church-going people? Niggas that love the gospel? Niggas that love Christianity? So why in the fuck they want to call this a Christian nation, but Trump is trying to block kids from being able to get money for food, for SNAP benefits, all of this old shit? The church isn't the fucking building. Come on, man. This dude is he's an enemy to his own fucking message, and he doesn't even know it.
Put their faith in Christ and have the means and is using their wherewithal.
I think you're
to do justly. So again,
I think you're cutting off a piece of that scripture, though, Chad. Because if I'm not mistaken, that's the same exact parable where when Jesus tells them to feed them, they say, "Lord, we have but only a few loaves," and the Lord multiplied the loaves and fed the thousands of men and women beside the kids.
The government didn't do it.
Oh, you heard what he said? Oh, please, I gotta rewind that. Did y'all hear what he just said? Oh, this is so fucking tantamount to what the fuck I just said.
And that's the same exact parable where when Jesus tells them to feed them, they say, "Lord, we have but only a few loaves," and the Lord multiplied the loaves and fed the thousands of men and women beside the kids.
The government didn't do it.
You heard what he said? He said, but the government didn't do that, though. Well, hold on. You mean to tell me the government is okay. What he's trying to do is he wants to look at the government like it's a extraterrestrial thing, but then in other places he wants to look at the government as it's just people. I prefer to look at the fucking government as it's just people, because that's just what the fuck it is. We elect these people to serve us. Make no fucking mistake about it. We elect the people in government to serve us. So he says, well, the government didn't do it. Well, actually, yes, the government did do it, which would be the fucking people. It may not be people that we elected, but instead, when you look at the times of the Bible, what do they call that group? The Levites. They were born into that shit. So no one elected anybody. These people were just born into this shit. So they were born to be lawgivers or whatever the case that, became Pharisees or whatever. So these people were born into this shit. Whereas today we elect these people. So when he says, well, the government didn't do it. Well, no, on contrary, my friend, the government actually did fucking do it. because the government was the fucking book that said that you had to do it. That was where your legislation resided, was in the fucking book. So yes, the government did feed the poor. Yes, the government did house the homeless. Yes, the government did feed and house the fucking orphans, because that was in the book for them to do that. They had to do that. That was a part of their culture, that they had to fucking do it. Well, but the government didn't do it. Yes, the government did do it, bro. Because the government was essentially mixed with the Levites and the Bible. And the Levites couldn't just make up what the fuck they wanted to. They had to follow the book. And the book said that they had to do that shit. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. So yes, the government did fucking feed them. The government did fucking house them. The government did fucking clothe them. Just terrible.
Well, Jesus Christ is
The taxes of the IRS didn't do it.
That doesn't matter. But the beauty of it is when your racism or your bigotry by deciding to not hire someone based on the color of their skin, when that impacts interstate commerce, the law can get involved. And that's exactly what the great Charles Hamilton Houston did. He laid the groundwork from a court perspective that led to the federal government being forced to compel you to give people equal protection under the law. Because we proved this time and time again in American history, that separate but equal is never equal. This is exactly why the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision was so important. This is exactly why
It's never fucking equal.
Was such a vital piece.
Separate but equal is never fucking equal. I'm so glad you brought up that point. Separate but equal is never fucking equal, because the greater or dominant society is always going to take and take and fucking take. It's never going to be fucking equal.
Piece of legislation. Black Americans in this country had never received equivalent access or equivalent treatment to economic resources. And in fact, this is not even something that's just inherently Kingian. When in American history did Black Americans receive equal opportunity and equal economic resources in this country?
Game the fuck over. That's a dagger. He's dead on that. He's literally dead on that. If we're talking before 1964 and you ask when did Black Americans receive equal justice in the fucking law, it doesn't exist. It doesn't fucking exist. Doesn't exist. Great point, my brother.
And in fact, this is not even something that's just inherently Kingian. When in American history did Black Americans receive equal opportunity and equal economic resources in this country?
Who is the distributor of equal opportunity and equal?
Whoa. Why is he asking something different instead of just answering the question? He's asking you for a time period that this thing that you're proclaiming is so great. When the fuck did it happen? It never fucking happened. Oh, when did... Man, look.
Cool. Like all the things.
You can't answer that question with a question.
Yeah, I can.
The question is, when did Black Americans... If the question is, when did Black Americans...
Thank you for staying on point, bro. Thank you, bro. Fuck, finally he stays and sticks on a point. Damn.
That question with a question.
Yeah, I can.
The question is, when did Black Americans... If the question is, when did Black Americans ever receive equivalent economic resources or even equivalent access to economic resources?
To say receive, that implies...
No, nigga, answer the fucking question. We can look at the GI Bill. We can look at the Homestead Act. There's never been a fucking time that we received economic status that was equal to fucking white people. We just didn't fucking get it. We didn't get it. We never received it. The lies and the hoops that these niggas gotta fucking jump over to fucking lie for white daddy is crazy. When was there a time? Well, what do you mean? Who's the arbiter of who gets what? No, we're not asking about that. Because we want to talk about who's the arbiter of who gets what. This is why they kept us out of politics. Are you fucking crazy?
Like all the things.
You can't answer that question with a question.
Yeah, I can.
The question is, when did Black Americans... If the question is, when did Black Americans ever receive equivalent economic resources or even equivalent access to economic resources?
To say receive, that implies that there's somebody who is distributing that.
Yes, there is someone who fucking supplies it, who distributes it. It's the fucking American government. The same way how they distribute The Homestead Act, that was overwhelmingly fucking white people. The GI Bill, we went over there and fought in World War fucking II, and we didn't get access to that shit. The Homestead Act, yes, against the fucking American government. And this is why they didn't want black people in the fucking American government, is because we would then start to push for shit that we could get for ourselves. This is why they didn't want us to be mayors, governors, things of that nature, so we actually had power, so we could then subsequently give things to ourselves. So when he says this stupid shit, oh, well, who's the arbiter? No, nigga, it's the American fucking government. This is why they didn't want us in there. Like, is he hearing himself? Who's
ever receive equivalent economic resources or even equivalent access
to say
economic
receive
resources?
to say receive? That implies that there's somebody who is distributing that which you are receiving.
Let me guess. He thinks this shit is just falling out of the fucking sky. So white people, when they had access to the Homestead Act, and they got all of these fucking farms that now for 4 or 5 generations, by using the Homestead Act in the fucking 30s and 40s, now after 4 or 5 generations, these motherfuckers are rich and well off. And not only that, they're now begging for black people that are a part of this fucking society to then bail them out. Will you ask the question? Okay, well, who is the one that's giving this shit? Nigga, the fucking federal government. The federal government, it's been the same. It hasn't changed.
Government.
So the federal government is responsible for giving you an equal opportunity.
Yes, nigga. It's always been the fucking federal government. This is why when you look at the reparations argument, it goes against the federal government, because the federal government allowed fucking slavery. These motherfuckers could not just murder people. Why? Because the federal government made it to where murder was illegal. The reason why you go after the federal government, because the federal government said that having slaves is legal. You don't go after fucking Joe Blow down the fucking street who had fucking slaves 200 years ago. No, you go after the federal government who allowed the fucking shit to happen. What is going on? But see, when you live in a fucking coon world and you windmilling for white folks, this is what you sound like. He doesn't understand that legislation and politics is why people are where they are right fucking now. Well, excuse me, he does understand that. But he's purposefully trying to obfuscate these fucking points so we can never really get anywhere with the argument. That's how these motherfuckers work.
They were responsible for the Homestead Acts, which gave away more than 233 million acres of land in the West and the Midwest.
So that assumes.
So
okay,
hold on,
you're
I'm
quoting
answering
King.
it.
You're quoting
No.
King.
This isn't a quotation. This is a direct
that is
reference.
a direct
Not
quotation.
only it is a direct. It's a King quotation, but he's referencing the Homestead Acts, which is what I stated, gave away 230 million acres of land in the West and the Midwest to white European peasants.
Can you even fathom that number? 200 million fucking acres to poor white, anybody that wanted to live anywhere between the mid and the Midwest and the West, just gave it to them for free. Here you go. So now when we see these farmers that are so-called doing bad in this fucking economy, that the person that they voted for, Donald Trump, is fucking them over. Now they want taxpayers, which is also includes us black folk, to bail them out when they come from a family of yuppies that fucking live good all of their fucking life. Now we gotta bail these fucking motherfuckers. Man, hell no. What happened? Yo, come on, man. What happened to the free market? What happened to this free market that these crackers love so fucking much? The free market. Well, the free market should allow you to survive or drown. You know, all of this shit. Why are we bailing these motherfuckers out for? Why are we bailing these niggas out in fucking Argentina? All of this shit. What happened to the free market? Oh, my bad. The free market is only for poor folk. We get capitalism while everybody else gets socialism. They get bailed out. We get told to pull ourselves up by our fucking bootstraps.
Inform us yet. Not one to this
Black
day.
people had access to that as well.
How many got it?
You'll see in my documentary.
No.
We actually,
The question was how many black people had access to it. The answer was you'll see it in my documentary. Oh, let me guess. You're going to go to one or two people that had access to this shit by some kind of weird loophole or whatever the fuck that a few black people got it. And then there you go. There's my argument. So you don't want to challenge the fucking you don't want to challenge the system, but what you want to do is you want to show the few who are the ones that got away. Nigga, give me a break.
actually,
didn't have to wait for the documentary to get the number.
We actually make the. Hey, I'm going to do some plugging here.
I love it.
I came here on my own dime. So,
We both did.
I respect it. I respect it.
so here's the fact. You're quoting King.
A historical source as well, but
Okay, so you're what you're saying too. It implies the somehow moral goodness of the Homestead Act to begin with.
No, the Homestead Act had nothing to fuck to do with moral goodness. It had everything to do with ingratiating and building up wealth for the white race. It had nothing to fuck to do with goodness. It had nothing to fuck to do with goodness. It was only an attempt to try to build up the status of the white race by making sure that these people were good and we stayed statutorily under these fucking people. That's all the fuck it was. Had nothing to fuck to do with benevolence. If anything, it was malevolence. Because they didn't afford black people those same fucking opportunities. It was malevolence, if we're actually being honest.
I'm not one who believes that we can fix everything with a government act. So to say that, oh well, whites had access to Social Security and blacks.
So you don't think that we can fix everything with a government act? Okay, cool. But are you willing to admit that the Homestead Act was something that, by them doing that, it actually helped out white people immensely? Nah, he ain't gonna admit that.
Didn't during its inception or during its original rollout. Therefore, it's unjust, it's unequal. We need to balance it, and we need to give everybody access to Social Security. We need to give everybody access to this or that. For me, I don't agree with that presumption at all. Because I don't believe in an ever-expanding federal government, which is meant to Sovietize our system in such a way.
Oh, here we go with the Red Scare again. Sovietize. Oh, we don't want to Sovietize, and we don't want to look like the fucking Soviet Union, like the turn of the century, to where they were actually taking out fucking 80% of their people out of fucking abject poverty. We don't want to do that, because if we take out 80% of people out of fucking poverty, out of that 80%, 70% is gonna fucking include black folk that we're fucking extracting out of poverty. We don't want to do that. Fuck no.
That genuine liberty is ever being infringed upon. That's what's actually happening in our country. And King was a pretty big part of that. Insofar that King took us, and I say this all the time, he took us from a trying race to a crying race.
Wow.
What King did is he taught us how to beg and plead. He taught us how to...
Oh, so King, I gotta stop pausing it, but goddamn, this nigga be saying too much stupid shit. So Dr. King taught us to fucking beg. That's his dilemma. Dr. King taught us how to beg. So we were begging. That's his rendition or his thought processes on the situation. Is that black people were fucking begging. Nah, we wasn't tearing this shit the fuck up. No, that didn't happen. Nah, we wasn't looting and rioting we were just requesting change. We were begging for change. Yeah, that's what it was.
He basically told us Take your hand off the proverbial plow, pick up your picket signs, because the picket sign will bring you liberation in America. That's what King did. Because again, you can look at the numbers, you can look at the data. Blacks were on an upward trajectory from the 1800s till around the 1940s and 50s.
Yeah, and then black men started leaving the house en masse, and they started abandoning their wives and kids. And Dr. King spoke to the same issue, and even Daniel Patrick Moynihan spoke to the same issue. The black community was at its economically strongest while being at its poorest from 1940 through 1966, specifically. When Daniel
Wrong. I disagree. If you want to look at the black community familial wise, we were strongest familially, but economically we were fucked. And the only thing that helped us economically was our familial ties. That's the shit that actually kind of helped us move around and kept us afloat, was our familial ties. But economically, as a whole, we were fucked. We didn't have access to the same shit that whites had. We didn't have access to none of this shit. But our familial ties. This is why, like, you have a lot of coons. They like to say, "Oh, well, you know, back in the 40s, we had a 90% marriage rate. The man, the husband and the wife was in the fucking home." Yeah, but we were poor as fuck. Okay, well let's fast forward and let's transpose that. When you have a situation to where you poor as fuck right now in 2026, when you poor as fuck, husband and wife, what is the main fucking problem that causes divorce? Economics. That's the main shit that causes divorce. But the difference is, back in the 30s and 40s, we couldn't fucking divorce because we had to fucking stay together. We had to stay together. This is where you get the stupid shit. Oh, it's cheaper to keep her, all of that dumb shit. Because we had to stay together. But today, one of the biggest fucking reasons for divorce is economics. The man leaving because he feels he could go do something else, or you know, the woman thinking, "Oh, I could be bad all by myself," or whatever, this stupid shit. This is the fucking reason. It's always been fucking economics. It's never been anything other than fucking economics. It's always been that way. So to try to say, "Oh, well, we had an upward trajectory." Yeah, we had an upward trajectory. Who the fuck wouldn't have an upward trajectory? Like, that's just how it works. Everybody slowly fucking goes up, but it does not mean that we were going up to the point or to the place to where we're gonna be have any semblance of a living or a life to what the fuck other people in this country were enjoying. Are you fucking crazy? Black people ain't had that shit. Look at pictures. Talk to your folks if they still living. They'll tell you, shit was kind of fucked up back in the day, but we made do. That's what they're gonna tell you. Like, you're not about to listen to these fictional tales about black people telling you how shit was so fucking great in the fucking 30s and 40s. If your grandmother and all of them is still living, they're not finna give you none of these fucking fictional tales about how all of this shit was so great for black folk before fucking integration. That's a lie. It's made the fuck up. It's made the fuck up. Nobody would tell you that this shit was just so fucking great. And, oh, man, the shit was just so... We had all of this and we had all of that. No. We did not have all of this shit. Peace. What's going on to my brother and y'all, mate? No, we didn't have all of this shit, bro. Like, that just wasn't the fucking case, dog. And, like, I hate for niggas to even... listen to bullshit like this and be brainwashed to think that, oh man, you know, in the 40s and 50s and 60s everything was just so fucking great and it was just so much better, you know. We had our own black communities and everything was good. No, the fuck it wasn't good, bruh. It just wasn't.
Patrick Moynihan wrote his Moynihan Report, which was a letter to Lyndon Baines Johnson. He said that one of the greatest problems that is impacting the black community is the root cause of it was a horrendous economic injustice visited upon black people by slavery. That's not Martin Luther King, by the way. That's Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who was the deputy secretary under Lyndon Johnson.
Right, and what he said that it was an economic injustice, like the brother just said, it was an economic injustice. But men and women couldn't just fucking cut and run the way how we can do today. A woman could just cut and run and say, "Oh, this nigga ain't shit, and I'm just out of there." A man could be like, "Oh man, fuck this hoe, I'm out of there." No, you couldn't just. Today you could just cut and run. But yesteryear, you couldn't just fucking cut and run. You had social norms, cultural norms that you had to abide by, shit like that. Like, come on, like it just wasn't real. You couldn't just wake up and be like, "Oh, this nigga's a piece of shit and I'm just out." Nope, I'm just gone.
Richard Nixon, who was also a Republican president, picked up Moynihan's idea of a guaranteed annual income to mitigate and combat the economic injustices that were still being visited upon African Americans. That has nothing to do with Martin Luther.
And what happened with that? What happened with that? Basically, that would be UBI as we would look at it today. And what happened? That shit was stifled. It was pushed in the back. It was pushed down and said no. Even back then, motherfuckers understood that black people were economically hindered. And there needed to be a way to fix them. You want to know why there needed to be a way to fix these people? It's because capitalism. In order for these people to shop at our shops, and now that everything is integrated, in order for them to shop at our shops, in order for them to spend money, we need to give these people fucking money. We don't give a fuck about them as people. Fuck no, we don't care. But we need to be able to devise a way to give them money so they can shop at our shops. So they can spend fucking money to stimulate the goddamn economy. That's what the fuck it was. They said, damn, these people have their own little societies ducked off to where they're only really doing business with each other. We need a way to tap into that shit. We need a way to tap into that. No different than when they brought Jackie Robinson out of the fucking Negro Leagues, excuse me, into the MLB. What the fuck was the point of that? They wanted to tap into that shit so they can eventually cause that to be defunct and they can bring the talent into their shit. It's all capitalism, nothing the fuck more. They still hated your ass. They still don't fucking like you, but they wanted that fucking dollar. They wanted your money, and that was successfully done. So that black-owned grocery store, out of the way. Here comes a Shop Aid, a Rite Aid, or whatever the fuck they had back in the day. They cleared those shits out and brought in white companies. It was to tap in to black fucking economics. Why the fuck would I go to the Negro League when nobody else is there? Everybody done went over to the MLB. I gotta go to Soldier Field or whatever the fuck, or Yankee Stadium. And I gotta sit at the top of the fucking nosebleeds and I can't even sit at the bottom or whatever the case. Hey, they was trying to tap into that dollar. That's all it was about. They didn't give a fuck about black people. They was trying to get that money.
The King, he was the inspiration for the framework, but is that inherently communist to ensure that equal opportunity is given to everyone? I'm not asking for equal outcome, but I'm talking about equal opportunity here specifically.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like semantics, we can use semantics till we're blue in the face.
That's semantics.
If your definition of equal opportunity means a radical redistribution of wealth, means a universal basic income, then yes, that's absolutely.
Yes, nigga. Listen, bro. He just told you the president offered UBI, Universal Basic Income, to help black people because we were so fucking behind. That didn't come from the loins or the thought processes of Dr. King. That didn't come from Dr. King. That did not come from Dr. King. It came from economists of the fucking day to say, hey, black people are so fucking behind that, hey, they can't even really, they don't have any extra money to spend on this and on that. And, you know, we need them to spend to stimulate the economy. But instead, they have these fucking dollars in their fucking community that's going around 10 fucking times before they even leave out. And we need access to that shit. We can't have black people in these fucking enclaves that's holding on to this fucking American dollar. We cannot do it. We need to extract this fucking money. And the best way to do it, let's go get Jackie Robinson. Let's go get us a black ball player. Let's tell niggas how great it is to shop over at this place or whatever the fuck. And tell niggas how great you look in this new suit from wherever the fuck. This is what they did. And what did black people do? We engaged in what we have now, consumerism. Now we are consumerists just like fucking white folk. Just fucking consumerists. Useless fucking eaters. Buying shit we don't need constantly. We're just like white folk. We just don't have as much as white folk have, but this is what they wanted us. They got us this was the last enclave that they needed to overcome. These niggas got their own shit, and we need to dismantle that. We got to dismantle it.
Absolutely, that's Sovietism, that's communism, that's Marxism under a different name. It's wealth redistribution. And not only that, it's antithetical to the Western tradition and Western civilization. Because Western civilization, at its core, is meant to be a merit-based society where if a man does not work, he does not eat. Where, again, and so the reality of it the reality of it is, to the extent that we get the so-called expert class and the bureaucracy involved, pretending that people are inanimate objects whose society must be ordered and structured for because they're too inept to take care of themselves, we're asking for trouble. We're asking for an ensuing doom. And so what did Booker T. Washington do? He said, yes, because let's recontextualize history just real quick. We had a civil war, the war between the states, really the war of northern aggression.
The war of northern aggression? You're calling the Civil War?
This nigga just called the Civil War the war of northern aggression. You can't make this shit up, y'all.
We had a civil war, the war between the states, really the war of northern aggression.
The war of northern aggression? You're calling the Civil War the war of northern aggression?
Absolutely. So we had the war of northern aggression that took place in this country.
Okay.
Yo, this is giving off Lost Cause vibes. It's like this shit is so sad. Like, this nigga's basically telling us he would have preferred to be a fucking slave had not the North aggressed upon the South. Had not the North aggressed upon the South, the South should have been left to their own fucking devices and should have been allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They seceded from the Union, and they should have been left the fuck alone to create, to have their own fucking country and keep niggas as slaves. This shit is crazy, bro. These coons are unapologetically anti-black, bro. Right, Inyame. This shows you education doesn't make you intelligent.
Says, this show you education doesn't make you intelligent.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's borderline ridiculous, bro. It's borderline ridiculous.
We had, immediately after something called Reconstruction, we had the carpetbaggers and the scallywags who were basically making life in the South miserable.
Oh, I'm so sad. The white northern carpetbaggers and scallywags came down south And they were practicing capitalism on those poor white folks who had black people as slaves for 265 fucking years. Oh, we should feel so bad for those good poor white folk, those good poor Southerners, those carpetbaggers. Man, they was something else. They was hell. What? Are you fucking kidding me? He's caping for fucking poor white trash motherfuckers who kept our people enslaved? Yo, this shit is crazy, bro.
This is what was actually happening. Okay. And the reality of it is, you had, in spite of all that, you had this upward trajectory that was taking place in many different ways, but also you had this friction that was brewing through agitation and propaganda, because that's always been the Marxist way. Agitation.
Yeah, you know what the friction was? The friction is that those Southerners, a lot of the motherfuckers got paid reparations that when our people was set free. And a lot of that friction came from us being free. And what they did was to aggress upon black people is they turned us into market slaves, if you will. They gave us jobs to where we would have to buy our own fucking equipment, work for them, and never be able to get the fuck up under the goddamn cost. We did that for a long time. And he's saying that, oh, the white motherfuckers, poor white folk. Oh, so sad that the white folks had to deal with this shit. This shit is crazy.
And propaganda. Right?
Without the atheist underpinning foundation, by the way, which doesn't have any belief in objective morality.
The idea is to breed friction. That's what they were trying to do. This is what they were. And so whenever Booker T. Washington would come along, what they were trying to do is they were trying to figure out a way to mitigate all of the friction, all of the turmoil, all of the animosity, because you have to understand, during the Civil War, you had the loss of fathers and brothers and husbands and so on and so forth.
Because black folks got tired of being in chains.
So naturally, there's a lot of friction there. And
right, nigga, because black folks got tired of being in fucking chains. Right. There was a lot of loss of life, nigga. We got tired of being in fucking chains. And what he doesn't want to tell you or admit to, since he claims to be well-read, nigga, there was on average 100 fucking rebellions a goddamn year leading up to the fucking Civil War. So no, it wasn't this posh society to where, no, niggas was getting the fuck out of there, bruh. Niggas was running off from plantations left and fucking right. On average, it was 100 fucking rebellions on plantations a year. Niggas was getting out of there. So yeah, nigga, we got tired of being in fucking chains. And this was something, it was going to be the natural course of things. You don't just keep a people fucking enslaved forever. That don't work.
There's a lot of nuance to this, a lot of complexity to this, but there's friction. How must you navigate this friction in order to bring about some degree of peace in society?
Somebody gonna have to be unhappy.
And so I researched this, Manning.
But his idea of peace is black people being in chains.
Johnson even talked about this in the speech that I mentioned earlier. It's called his farewell address. Anyone can look it up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And says he, and I agree, that you had something called interracial commissions that began to spring up across the South. These weren't commissioned by the government, or these were responsible Negro and white leaders and communities coming together,
Labfoog says,
especially in the aftermath of
this is the problem with these frat boys,
how
especially black frat boys.
And when Booker T. Washington delivered a speech in Atlanta, he said famously, "Cast down your bucket where you are," rather than going to the government or rather than engaging in protest and uprising and all the things. No, cast down your bucket where you are.
Wow. This nigga just took that speech to mean stay a fucking slave. He just took that and mixed that to mean stay a fucking slave. Cast your bucket down where you are. You're a slave. Stay a slave. No, niggas wasn't thinking like that, bruh. Niggas was not thinking like that, bruh. Niggas would have 86 and smoked this nigga back in the day, bruh. Niggas would have smoked him. Huh? Do what? Hey, give me that pistol real quick. Give me that pistol real quick. But hold on, I only said, pow! Yeah. Fuck is you talking about, nigga? Cast your bucket down where you are. No, nigga. I'm not casting down my fucking bucket where I am. I'm gonna fill up my bucket, nigga.
But
God gave you a mind, He gave you limbs, He gave you the means to be resourceful, to form families, to do all the things. Cast down your bucket where you are. As a result of the things that Booker T. Washington was talking about,
Twisted.
and others who are part of that contingent, you saw this upward trajectory. You saw actual fruit being yielded from the kinds of things that Booker T. Washington was doing. And so,
Nigga, wasn't no fucking fruit from that. Bro, I want y'all to see this real quick. I want y'all to see the comments, bro. I want y'all to see the comments. Because this shit is crazy. So you see me right here. I put, Chad is a coon of the highest order, looking for a pat on the head from racist whites. But look at these motherfuckers. Look at this shit. Light work for Chad. Time to level up. Who's next? Brother Austin may not be a liberal. However, he's proved that loyalty to MLK and not the scriptures, because every chance he gets, he twists the scripture to fix his narrative, to uplift King in the civil rights movement. Very interesting and intellectual, brother. Young kids have no clue how racism actually functions. They have grown up in a... Chad is a master plumber during the day and a historian by night. Chad O. Jackson, he's him. Chad is that dude. These are white motherfuckers, by the way, bigging up this goddamn coon. These are white motherfuckers bigging up this coon. Chad cleared. Cleared what, nigga? Chad is the man. These are all white people. Hold on. Let me move this over so y'all can see. These are all white people saying this stupid shit. Chad is the man. Yeah. Because he's pushing his stupid fucking narrative. Chad O. Jackson. Fire. Chad 8. Crazy, bro. Austin, you may want to do your research. Information is power. It took me a while, but Chad is right. Do you see these motherfuckers agreeing with this coon ass nigga? Even though I've systematically dismantled all of his fucking stupid ass points. All of his points I've destroyed. Chad has references, timelines, and sources that he used to make his conclusions. The other person had opinions based on how he wants to feel about MLK. This wasn't much of a debate. Chad is operating from a higher frequency. What? Thank you, Brother Jackson. Awesome job. Yo, this is crazy, bro. I was looking at these comments. I said, there's no fucking way that they think that this fucking coon ass nigga, Chad Jackson, is making any fucking sense. I said, there's no way. I'm looking at it and I'm just like, how? Yeah. Chad Jackson is the dark skinned brother with the glasses. And if you notice, all of the white people in the chat are just kind of going crazy because they love this shit. They love it. No, don't speak on black issues. Just stay a coon and just stay in the corner. Be seen, not heard. That type of fucking stupid shit.
when we look at that, that has tangible results, that has tangible effects and impacts. This is progress by reformation. Reformation is slower, It's harder work, but there's a character building component when one is being reformative in that way.
You can have
Revolution.
you can have all the character in the world, Chad.
Revolution is completely different. Revolution.
So he wants reform, not revolution. Can you hear the spirit in this brother just leave his body? He's okay with reformation as long as whites stay on the top, blacks stay on the bottom. He doesn't want revolution to where shit becomes equal. He doesn't want that. He wants reform. Damn, this shit is crazy, bro. Like, I was listening to this shit. I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, this nigga's out there like this? Like, it took me aback, bro, because I'm like, this ain't real, bro. This dude gotta be like kind of joking. He's probably gonna bust out, nigga, you know I'm just playing. Nigga, fuck these crackers. No, like, he's really for real.
Revolution requires no character. It exploits people's vices and people's impatience and all the things. And you might get some kind of legislative or political achievement out of your revolution, but it's unsustainable. It will soon implode because it relies on legislation more so than the character of the people. And
Nigga, this is so stupid, bro. The way we live our lives is incumbent and based, and we live through fucking legislation, bro. We live through legislation, dog. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? That, oh, it'll be short lived. And, bro, we live through legislation, bro. The way how you operate, think about yourself. The way how you operate as a man, as a woman, you operate, and the only reason you operate that way is because of fucking legislation. You can't do what the fuck you want to do because of legislation. You can't say what the fuck you want to say because of legislation. And he's trying to say that if we have a revolution and change fucking things and change the system, it's going to be short-lived. Because of legislation. How? Damn.
so when you look at the history of Black Americans, again, when you look at the influence of people like Booker T. Washington, up into the 1940s, 50s, early 60s, and then you see the impact of the rise of the civil rights movement, because the civil rights movement, it actually precedes King, but it was able to get to a climactic point in the wake of King from the 1960s on.
See, this is a smart, stupid nigga, bro. I don't need you to give me a fucking history lesson on everything that you're talking about. Well, the civil rights movement precludes, bro, we know this, bro. Dr. King didn't fucking drop out of the fucking sky and started the civil rights movement. We know this, dog. We know this. There was a movement. There was rumblings and grumblings. We know that. But King took it to another fucking level. This is why we pay homage and respect him the way that we fucking do, dog. That's why. It's because he took it to another fucking level. And not only did he take it to another level, he actually got shit done. He actually got shit done. Not only did he get shit done, he got the things done that we were asking for. He got things done that we were asking for. Even in death, he got shit done that we were asking for. Like, come on, man. Like, yo, this dude is just wild with it.
Into today, what we see as a result of the civil rights movement is a smug disposition among many blacks, this kind of race paranoia, seeing racism where there is no racism, this kind of, again, the smug disposition.
Race paranoia. So now black people see racism where there's not racism. Okay. Okay, bro.
Piece where people, black folks in particular, can be openly racist. They could just say racist things, just outrageous things that they wouldn't tolerate from white folks. You see this kind of sense of entitlement. There was a Cato Institute study done in 29.
Yeah, I gotta pause it right there, bro. I gotta pause it right there because this dude, man, Listening to this fucking nigga, bro, he gets on my nerves. So I'm gonna pause it right there. We 30 minutes in. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish this shit, but maybe tomorrow we can come and maybe do another 30 minutes. But man, yeah, cause we 2 hours and 15 minutes in the game right now. But I find myself stopping him after every fucking stupid point. Yeah, he's all over the place, bro. He's all over the fucking place. You know, black people, black people are seeing racism. Well, there's no racism. Okay, bro. Okay. And in a time where white people could be overtly fucking racist, black people are seeing racism where it doesn't exist. Okay. In a time where white people could be overtly fucking racist, make you walk in a fucking street because they wanted to walk on a fucking sidewalk, we were seeing racism where it didn't exist. In a time where we had to drink from separate water fountains, go to different stores, enter buildings through different fucking entrances, we were seeing racism where it didn't fucking exist. According to this clown, we were seeing racism where it didn't exist. According to this clown. So, yeah, this dude just annoys the fuck out of me. I try to slog through it for y'all. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow, if I'm feeling up to it, we'll probably do the second half. What's today? Sunday. Yeah, if not tomorrow, then maybe Tuesday. We can get through the second half. But I got the. Hold on, let me drop the link again. Let me drop this. This is the link to the actual debate. So if you guys want to check it out, like I say, without me and my commentary, you know what I'm saying? You can go check it out. And then when I do my commentary, you can kind of understand where I'm coming from and the things that I'm saying. So when I do my commentary, either tomorrow or Tuesday, that'll be dope. But yeah, that's the link to where it is. You can go check it out. But yeah, this dude is like, this dude is just so all fucking kilter. It's just crazy, bro. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how you can live like that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand how you can live like that and just want people, black people, to be like enslaved or to be second class citizens. Like, how do you live your fucking life like that? Not understanding that these same principles would fucking apply to you. These same principles that you want to, look at black people should have, like, nigga, these same things are gonna fucking apply to you. Like, it's just so fucking crazy, bro. But that's the life of a coon, and I'm so glad that I never went down that road. But I tell you, man, there's a lot of money in this coon and shit, bro. If you just look at the fucking comments, bro, there's a lot of money in this coon and shit. There's a lot of money in this coon and shit, dog. Like, there's a lot of money in it, bro. Yeah, he definitely getting a check. There's a lot of money in this shit, dog. There's a lot of money in this, bro. Like, you ain't got to work no more, bro. You just got to wake up, turn on your YouTube, and just talk about how bad black people are. And if you really want to get crazy with it, you could read a few books. And then deduce how bad black people are. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, I don't know. I can never understand that shit, bro. Because I'm not even one to say, like, white people are fucking inherently evil. Like, I'm not even like that. Like, I don't know. This whole shit is wild, bro. How these niggas do this shit, dog. Like, what how can you wake up and do that, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about, like, your mother or your grandmother, you know what I'm saying, waking up in the morning, not having enough, and stretching out that fucking batter for them pancakes to make sure everybody eat. Like, shit like that. Like, how can you turn that into a situation to say, well, if they would have practiced capitalism, they would have had a little bit more money, and like how can you turn that into something like that? You wake up and you see your father going to work every day, and you could just flip it to be like, yeah, if he just agreed with the system going on, he would be better off. And then I just don't understand that, bro. I just don't fucking understand that. And then to try to like retcon the whole fucking black experience is just, that's like a whole nother thing. Like you just totally changed the history of black people to try to say like, oh, we had an upward trajectory, during this particular time, and it's just like, nah, bro, like that upward trajectory had a fucking glass ceiling. Like it had a glass ceiling, and the glass ceiling was made out of fucking concrete. And like for him to not see that, well, he does see it. Let me take that back, because I'm not finna operate uh, under the idea that he doesn't know. I refuse to operate under that he doesn't know. He does know. But to operate under the idea that black people were better off, and like that's just a lot for me to swallow. Pause. But it's like, come on, bro. Like, damn, my nigga. Like that's just a lot, dog. Like you can't, you know. It's kind of like, and I'll say this before I go. It's kind of like those people that those Venezuelans that are living in Miami or New York or whatever the case may be, and they're sitting back and saying, yeah, infiltrate Venezuela, and yeah, take the fucking president of Venezuela, and whatever you want to do to him, and knowing good and fucking well America is not coming with a fucking economic plan to try to help the people or change their situation. It's only gonna be fucking degradation. To see these people, bruh, and like actively advocate for that shit, dog. It's like, do you understand? Yes, yeah, bro. Same shit with Cubans, bro. I'm from Miami, Florida. I've seen Cubans do this shit all my fucking life, dog. I swear to God. All my fucking life, bro. These fucking Cubans, bro, they have no idea of what the fuck happened in Cuba, but their parents or grandparents hate fucking Castro, so they just hate Castro. Like, that's just always how it's been. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. These people are pretty disgusting to me. You know what I'm saying? To where like you would advocate for an empire to take over your home country. Like that shit is wild. And like they're not even factoring in the point that, what if Donald Trump just turned heel and say fuck it, all of you Venezuelan niggas, you got to go back. I don't give a fuck if you a citizen or not. You got to go back. And he just started deporting you motherfuckers to where this same place that you hate so much or you want the worst for, you get sent back there. Like, it's just all crazy, dog. Like, I don't know, man. We live in a fucked up world right now, bro. We live in a totally fucked up world. And it's really sad, That's like one of them niggas from Burkina Faso to be like, yeah, the French should come and fucking take over Burkina Faso. Like, fuck what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Yeah, the French should come and take over this shit. Even though the motherfuckers ain't build no fucking roads, the motherfuckers ain't helping with the society, they just extracting everything. Yeah, the French should come over and take. It's like, what? You actually cool with that shit? Like, it's like, damn, bro. Like, when you ask the question to Americans, are we the bad guys in the fucking movie? The answer is yes, bro. We are the bad guys in the movie. when you watch Star Wars and you look at the fucking Empire and Darth Vader and all of that shit, and then you look at the Rebel Army with Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker and all of them niggas, they was the resistance. I don't know if you niggas paid attention to that fucking movie, but if you watch Star Wars, nigga, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia, Chewbacca, all of them niggas, they was the fucking resistance in that fucking movie, bruh. They was trying to stop the fucking Empire, the Galactic Empire, from doing the shit that they was doing. But when the fuck did we all agree with the? We all saw that movie and was like, yeah, we wanted Han Solo and Luke Skywalker to go on and destroy the fucking Death Star. When did we all started to agree that fucking Darth Vader should build a fucking Death Star to evaporate fucking like worlds? When the fuck did we agree on that? When did we all come together and say, you know what? Yeah. I'd rather live under fucking Darth Vader than fucking Han, Luke, and like, when did we agree on that shit? When did that change happen? What happened to the little guy winning that actually wanted to change things for the better? When the fuck did that shit change? Like, it's really crazy when you think about it, man. Like, and I hate to take it to movies, but a lot of times that's what niggas understand. We all love those Star Wars movies. I could take it to Star Trek. Everywhere that the motherfuckers went, shit, they was trying to make things better. And even so, they left civilizations alone. So maybe 1,000 years could pass by to where they could figure it out. And if they didn't figure it out, then they would intervene. Then Starfleet and Star Trek would intervene. You know, it's crazy, bro. It's really, really crazy, man. But yeah. I don't know. I'm just not used to this world that we live in today because coming up as a kid, you know, shit was just a little bit different to where you had white racist people to where the shit was covert. Now the shit is just overt. And when the shit is overt, it's easier to spread. Like, the racism is so much easier to spread when it's overt, and they could just call you a nigga, and they could just, call you a illegal this, illegal that, and send them back and all of that shit. It's easier for the racism to spread. But it's harder for it to spread when you got some kind of shame about yourself. Yeah, maybe the father was a fucking racist, but it was harder to spread to his fucking children. But now that the shit is so overt, he says this shit. The racist father just says this shit, and he brings up his children that way. So we really live in a crazy world today, orchestrated by Donald Trump and his acolytes. It's really a fucked up place that we live in. I'm gonna tell y'all, man, we're really closer to a goddamn civil war than you actually believe. America is closer to a civil war than you actually believe. But the crazy part about the civil war that is potential is that the lines won't be drawn how the lines were drawn in the actual civil war of the 1860s. Because the lines will be drawn by red states and blue states, and they're going to be drawn by whoever the fuck your governor is at the time. I live in somewhat of a purple state, North Carolina, but that doesn't make you safe. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see another great migration of people moving to blue states, man, and about the next 5 years or so, if like this MAGA shit persists, which I think it will, it won't be MAGA because a lot of these MAGA motherfuckers, they're so disgusted with Donald Trump when it comes to the Epstein files and everything. They're so disgusted with him, but they're still fucking just so goddamn racist when it comes to immigrants and others, if you will. To where like these motherfuckers are, they're not gonna stop, bro. They're not gonna stop. They're not going to stop. So it's gonna take something to make that shit stop. It's gonna take something to make it stop. Like I say, man, coming up, racism was still there, but the shit was really covert. It was really fucking covert. The shit still existed, but now the overtness of it is fucking palpable. You can see it, you can feel it. It's everywhere, and it's just like, damn, bro. Like the racism is coming down from the fucking commander in chief. How the fuck could it not? Like, if the racism is coming down from the commander in chief, motherfuckers that voted for Donald Trump feel like they can engage in it too. And we're not just talking about this person over here or that person over there. We're talking about 80 plus million fucking people, bro. Mainly white folk. We're talking about 80 plus million motherfuckers, mainly white folk, that are just like, yo, we tired of this shit. We don't want you niggas to be equal. We tired of you niggas having things equal to us. But the sad part about it is they're fucking themselves over with this capitalist shit. They're fucking themselves over with this capitalist shit. Like they're actively voting for a worser life as long as they feel that they're better than other people. They're totally okay with having a worser life, no health care, no dental care. They're totally okay with that shit as long as the president is making them feel that they're above other people. And that's the worst kind of white motherfucker. I'm going to tell you right now. That's the worst kind of white motherfucker. That needs to be coddled, to be told that they're better than you. That's the worst kind of motherfucker, bro. That's the worst kind of white motherfucker. Because these bastards will go to the end of the earth. And they're totally okay. They're willing to go jobless, liverless, toothless, as long as motherfuckers tell them that they're better than you. These are the worst kind of fucking crackers, bro. And they out here in numbers. They out here in numbers, bro. So maybe things have changed before we get to that point, but I don't see it, bro. That's why I'm getting the fuck out of this country. As niggas know, I done told niggas, man, I'm moving to China, bro. Within the next few months, I'm trying to get my shit together, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, this shit just ain't for me. Niggas can say, oh, you running this and that. Yeah, nigga, I am running. Yeah, I'm running. I'm getting the fuck out of this godforsaken place because this shit is just, it's not for me, dog. This shit is just not for me. You niggas can stay here if you want to fight and you want to, love this place or whatever. Bro, I don't got no love for this place, bro. I truly don't have any love for America. For the sake of my family, do I want it to be like cool and a safe place? Of course. But as far as like living here, it's not a place for poor people. It's just not a fucking place for us. Like, why the fuck would I continue to sacrifice Like I'm 40. I turned 40 last year. Why the fuck would I want to continue to live in a place to where there's no upward mobility in unless you have bread? Like there's no upward mobility for the average person. When you see the stat that says that 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, bruh, that includes me, my nigga. That 70% includes me. I'm not talking about nobody else, but bruh, that shit includes me. Maybe niggas on here that fuck with me, maybe y'all are in that 30% to where you niggas don't live paycheck to paycheck. But bruh, that shit fucking includes me. And I don't want to live in a place like that, dog. I don't want to live in a place like that no more. I've given 20 years to this shit. The first 20 years I don't count because I was a kid, whatever. I don't count the first 20 years, but I've given 20 years to this place, and it's gotten progressively fucking bad. It's gotten progressively worse than what the fuck it was. And honestly, if I was making $300,000-$400,000 a fucking year, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I still wouldn't fucking want to live here. Like just the culture alone is fucking disgusting to me. Just the culture alone is fucking disgusting. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, because people feel like, oh, when Donald Trump leave office, things are gonna change. Nah, he set a precedence to where things are so fucked to where they're gonna have to stay that way for at least the next 10, 15 years. At least the next 10, 15 years, because you got to think about who's coming behind him. He has a bunch of fucking sycophants that are already in his cabinet and niggas that voted for him. Who the fuck would want to be a part of this goddamn system? Who the fuck would want to be a part of this shit? You got the FIFA World Cup coming up to where all of these different people across the world, FIFA is the biggest sport. We call it soccer, but it's the biggest sport in the fucking world. And you're gonna have all of these people coming here all around the fucking globe. But if you look fucking Hispanic, these motherfuckers are gonna be looking to detain you, deport you, and all of this other type of shit. What type of fucking society is that, dog? That shit is fucking stupid to me. That's fucking dumb. And this is not something that's going to be fixed within the next 3 years. Trump don't get out of office until 2020 fucking 8. Excuse me, 2028. This shit ain't going to be fixed then. He's going to have people with the same ideology that he's ingrained that shit in at least for another 15, 20 years. That this is now their mentality. That shit ain't going away. So I'd rather get the fuck out of here. That's just me. That's just me, bro. I've already researched this shit. You could have a great life in other fucking places. Vietnam, all of this shit. I've looked into a lot of this shit, bro. And if you smart, you would fucking look into it too. Look into some of these different places, bro. A lot of these places, you could live very fucking good, very fucking well. You know, you could live very good. Matter of fact, I think that's my next live that I'm gonna do is just to drop some more information on different places in the world that niggas could live, and I'm gonna let the niggas that live there tell you about it. I've done it before, but I'll let the niggas that live there, that left America, that was just like, yeah, this shit is just too wild, it's too expensive, da 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 da. Hey, but see, here's the kicker: you could still work in America, but could be living abroad, and you could live a very good fucking life. I just don't want to live in this motherfucking shithole. America's a shithole country, believe it or not. Hey, appreciate that, Wab Fuck. He says, dope live. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I rather, if I only live to be 60 years old, I'd rather spend my last 20 years living abroad, free from the fucking confusion, the nonsense. I'd rather live my last 20 years in fucking peace. In fucking peace. Because we know America ain't fucking with China. We know they not fucking with them. So I'd rather live my final 20 years in fucking peace. If that bitch stretch out to 70 or 80, well, let it stretch. I'm gonna be a Guangzhou Chinese motherfucking speaking motherfucker. I promise you that. Hell no. I'm not. No, I'm not doing it. I'll speak that shit. Do I love speaking my mother tongue, which is English? Absolutely, I love speaking it. It's easy. It comes natural to me. But if I have to learn another fucking language, another city, another culture, I'll fucking do it, bro. Just to live a comfortable fucking lifestyle, I will do it. I will do it, bro. And I see the joy. I see the joy that comes across these people's faces to where you see some of these videos to these people to where they've been living abroad 10, 15 years and they don't have to deal with the stress and the bullshit that comes along with living in America. Like, they don't have to deal with that shit, bro. Like, living in America is stressful as fuck. It's stressful as fuck, bro. If you have a child, sending your child to school, bro, you have to live with the fact every fucking day that some crazed gunman can come into that fucking school and murder your fucking child because of these fucking so-called gun rights. These motherfuckers want their guns because they're afraid of a tyrannical government. But Donald Trump is as fucking tyrannical as they come, and they won't fight against that. Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool. I'd rather live in a society to where people talk about them not having rights. Because that's what they do. They tell you people in all of these other countries, England and all of this, oh, they don't have rights. No, they have just as much fucking rights as you have. They're just as free as you are. They're just as fucking free. But they don't have to deal with the bullshit that we fucking have to deal with. I'd rather live there. I'm cool. The American experiment has fucking failed, and a lot of us don't want to admit it. The American experiment failed. The American experiment failed. It was an abject failure. It works perfectly for the capitalists, for the motherfuckers with all of the money. It works perfectly for them. It's working exactly how they want it to work. But you look at all of these white motherfuckers that done left this goddamn country to where they done left this goddamn country and gone to all of these other different countries, bro. And they just living good and just chilling. They don't have to worry about some random motherfucker with some kind of head case that just goes into their children's school and just murder every fucking body. No, they don't got to deal with that. So why the fuck should us as Americans, we got to deal with it? Oh, because we got niggas that lobby that want their fucking guns, and guns must be produced because it's a part of our economy, and these capitalists need their fucking money. Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to be a part of that no more. I don't want to send my daughter to school every fucking morning having to worry about that shit. Yeah, there's problems associated with that. I got to think about shit like, damn, yeah, she's gonna want to go to prom. She's gonna want to, walk across the stage in an American school. All of that shit. Yeah, man, I think about all of that shit, bro. None of that escapes me. I think about all of that. But you know what I think about more? Her fucking safety and what's better for her. I think about that shit more. What good is it to allow my daughter to go to fucking prom and some crazy motherfucker come with a gun and kill every bitch in they fucking mammy, and then now what? Now I'm sitting there saying, damn, if I had just fucking left like I said I was gonna leave, this shit wouldn't happen. It wouldn't have been the case. Nah, I'd rather leave, bro. I'd rather leave. I'd rather fucking leave. Don't get me wrong, man. I tussle with that mentally. I be like, damn, man, I know my daughter, she's a fucking American. She's Americanized. Yeah, she wants a lot of, the American creature comforts, if you will. But man, when you know better, you just have to fucking do better for your kids, bro. You just have to fucking do better. They don't fully understand the dangers of this fucking system. They don't understand it. So you gotta keep them from it. But it is what it is. With that being said, let me go ahead and get out of here, man. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, man. I can sit here and talk for hours about this shit. But yeah, man. If you guys enjoyed the stream, hit the like button. My Cash App. If anybody want to drop anything on my Cash App, I think it's pound. What the fuck is my Cash App? I forget it. Let me figure out what my shit is, just in case. Just in case a nigga want to show some love. Just in case y'all want to show some love. Hold on, let me find out what my shit is. Hold on. Just in case. What is my shit? Okay, yeah, here it is. It's $ outside the cube with a C. Yeah, it's $ outside the cube with a C. If anybody want to donate, trust me, you don't have to. I don't do these streams for fucking Cash Apps, but I always appreciate if niggas want to show support or whatever the fuck. All of that's cool too. But yeah, man, we gonna come back. I'm hoping for tomorrow. I joined the debate league, so I'm gonna do a little mix up with them on this Thursday coming. Do a little mix up with them, and I'll replay that on my channel so niggas can see that. Yeah. Other than that, I'll try to come back tomorrow to do part 2. If not, then definitely Tuesday we'll get that shit popping, and I'll play part 2 of this shit. Cause I really want to play part 2 of this, man, because this dude was just all the way out of pocket. He was all the way out of pocket, and a lot of niggas ain't, don't know about this dude. I ain't fucking know about this dude. I just so happen, but I was just scrolling G shit. I was just scrolling YouTube one day. I clicked it. It was like a ML Martin Luther King debate. I was like, let me kick the tires and see what's going on. A Martin Luther King debate? I'm like, okay, let me check it out. And then I'm listening, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this, okay, boom, we got a coon. Let's cover this. So, yeah, but yeah, it was most certainly interesting, and we'll get back into it either Monday or Tuesday. But y'all know what it is. Until next time, holla at me. What you say? Oh, did you check out Roy Cohn? Oh man, let me pull that up right fucking now. Let me pull up Roy Cohn right now. I'm gonna pull that up right fucking now. Matter of fact, drop a link for a video. But I just pulled it up. Is it this shit? Hold on, is it this? Is this the same dude? Oh, you put it in the Discord. Okay, even better. All right, yeah, even better.
60 Minutes Rewind.
Here's how to cause a fuss at a gathering of American judges or lawyers. That it was Roy Cohn who started.
Is this the dude right here, Roy Cohn? Is this the one? But if not, nevertheless, I'm gonna check the Discord, check that out, and yeah, I'll probably finish the. Oh, that's him. Okay, even better. But I'll still check the Discord. But yeah, I'm gonna look at this tonight. It's only 16 minutes, so I'll watch that on my way to sleep, and I'll check the Discord for that link. And yeah, when I come back, we can discuss Roy Cohn and all of that. And yeah, man, you already know. But yeah, let me get my ass up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Until next time, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the people working overnight. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all. To the replay gang, shout out to y'all. We definitely appreciate y'all too. But until next time, peace, man. We up out of here. Appreciate y'all.